Meet Ilhan Omar. She fled Somalia's civil war to live the American dream. And boy, is she living it. $30 million in assets, a venture capital firm, and a winery. But according to Omar herself, America is being turned into one of the worst countries in the world. If this is the nightmare, sign us up. Ilhan Omar calls herself a democratic socialist, fighting for the working class with Medicare for all, student debt forgiveness, and big tax hikes on the rich. But hey, who says socialism can't come with a side of luxury wine and venture capital? In February, she tweeted, "I barely have thousands." Then her financial disclosure dropped, showing millions. Oops, must have forgotten to count the VC fund. Her campaign paid her husband's consulting firm $3 million, and now his investments are booming. What a coincidence. She rails against the 1% while quietly becoming the 1%. That's not hypocrisy, that's entrepreneurship, baby. And don't forget, whenever caught in controversy, it's always due to racism or Islamophobia. Maybe the secret ingredient to millionaire status is never, ever admitting a bad take. What do you think?
So America just quietly dropped a new global doctrine. It basically says, we're not the world's police anymore. Jeez, finally. We're the boss of our own hemisphere and everyone else can deal with theirs. On December 5th, the White House released Trump's new national security strategy. Inside the document is something they're already calling the Trump corollary to the old Monroe Doctrine. Translation, the United States is already declaring dominance over the Western Hemisphere. North America, Central America, South America, and the Caribbean. He's basically saying that this is our neighborhood, our rules. At the same time, it signals something huge. America is stepping back from trying to manage every crisis on the planet. Here's the core of it. America first, but not just the slogan, as the actual blueprint. The strategy says that the US is done acting like a global babysitter and instead wants to be a regional superpower at home with select pressure overseas. It talks about sovereignty, borders, migration, cartels, critical minerals, energy, not spreading democracy or building global institutions. And in Europe, the document literally talks about civilization erasure, mass migration, and cultural collapse, and basically tells Europe you're on your own. In the Americas, this doctrine means cracking down on cartels and narco-terror groups, pushing back hard on China's influence in Latin America, and trying to stabilize countries down south so mass migration doesn't end up on US border. In Europe, leaders are freaking out. French and EU leaders are calling it brutal and a declaration of political war, because it blows up the old idea that America will always bail out Europe first. And on Russia and China, this doctrine quietly accepts a world of spheres of influence, meaning that it acknowledges that there are only 3 global powers, the US, Russia, and China. The goal is to avoid a giant global war by not trying to run everything anymore. So here's the question, is this smart realism where we're admitting that we can't police the entire planet, or is it dangerous because it gives Russia, China, and Iran more room to operate in their own backyard? Does America get stronger when it focuses on its own hemisphere, or weaker if it stops acting like the glue that holds the old world order together?
Well, well, if you heard that correctly, the globalists are actually upset at Trump because we're no longer going to be the policemen of the world. We're no longer going to be getting into fighting with proxy wars with other superpowers. Nope, we're no longer doing that no more. That's up to you guys. We're going to focus on our hemisphere, and good luck with you guys in your hemisphere, because we're dominant in our hemisphere. I don't know about you guys, but we're good. But all right, guys, we are live. Yo, this is S.E.T with S.E.T Media, guys, and I'm back with another one for you. All right, guys, we're going to have this political Trump interview we're going to get into, and then we're getting into a complete media analysis because there's a lot to go over today. Don't worry, guys, I know I sound a little sick, but we got the NyQuil, so I'll be all right. All right, guys, let's get right into it.
Welcome to a very special episode of The Conversation. I just wrapped up an interview with President Donald Trump here at the White House. We spoke for about 45 minutes about the seismic impact that he is having all over the world, especially right now in Europe when it comes to the Ukraine-Russia war and when it comes to his relationship with our longtime allies, a very significant shift that his administration is looking to see on the European continent. We talked about Venezuela, of course, and then those domestic domestic issues that are so important to Americans every day right now. That's talking about cost of living and affordability. It's talking about health care and those Obamacare subsidies that are set to expire at the end of the year. It was a wide-ranging conversation. Here is my interview with President Donald Trump. Mr. President, thank you so much for joining the conversation.
Thank you.
So Politico has named you as the most influential person shaping Europe as part of our annual Politico 28 list. Past names that have topped the list include President Zelensky, Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, and President Viktor Orban. This year, Politico broke precedent to recognize an American for the first time in the history of P28. And sir, there is no question that you are having a seismic impact on the continent and its politics. One of the most pressing issues in Europe right now is the war between Russia and Ukraine.
It's actually wild how this man Zelensky literally got recognized for a war that he's losing in, for a war that he should have never engaged in. But hey, you know, I'll leave that opinion to y'all. All right.
Your team has been going back and forth.
I wouldn't say one. I would say the most.
The most. You're right. Your team has been going back and forth between Putin and Zelensky with various drafts of a peace deal. Which country right now is in the stronger negotiating position?
Well, there can be no question about it. It's Russia. It's a much bigger country. It's a war that should have never happened. Frankly, it wouldn't have happened if I were president, and it didn't happen for 4 years. I watched that taking place, and I said, wow, they're going to cause some problems here. And it started, and it could have evolved into World War III, frankly. I think it's probably not going to be happening now. I think if I weren't president, you could have had World War III. I think you would have had a much bigger problem than you have right now. But right now, it's a big problem. It's a big problem for Europe, and they're not handling it well.
I mean, that is true, though, because the problem it is with Europe's stance on the Ukrainian war is that, well, they're doing all the complaining with no action. I mean, like I said, they're the main ones complaining how, well, if Russia takes Ukraine, they're going to go right after them, which I don't see happening whatsoever. But that's what they're saying. But they're not putting enough action into it. And I keep saying, if you're not willing to literally go to war with Russia to avoid them for taking you guys over, then I think you guys are just like, you know, bluffing. You're just trying to convince America to keep on supporting you guys in the fear of Russia taking you guys over.
Last night, you said that you weren't sure if President Zelensky was fine with the most recent proposal, that he isn't ready. I was hearing from your advisors around Thanksgiving that they thought this thing might be wrapped up by the end of the holiday, but it's still not done. Is Zelensky responsible for the stalled progress, or what's going on there?
Well, he's got to read the proposal. He hadn't written, really, he hasn't read
the
it
most
yet.
recent draft.
That's as of yesterday. And maybe he's read it over the night. It would be nice if he would read it.
No, he ain't read that because he already knows. It calls for land concession in Europe and Ukraine. With Zelensky is standing together saying that they will not concede any land to Russia. And therefore, they do not want to end this war because they actually got to concede land because they can't beat Russia off the land that Russia's taken. So they're being a bit delusional here. And I'm not sure where they're going with this. I think they're trying to push America into this, but we're not budging.
You know, a lot of people are dying. So it would be really good if he'd read it. His people loved the proposal. They really liked it. His lieutenants, his top people, they liked it. But they said he hasn't read it yet. I think he should find time to read it.
Is it time for Ukraine to hold an election, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. It's been a long time. It's hasn't been doing particularly well. Yeah, I think it's time. I think it's an important time to hold an election. You know, they're using war not to hold an election, but I would think the Ukrainian people would, you know, should have that choice, and maybe Zelensky would win. I don't know who would win, but they haven't had an election in a long time. You know, they talk about a democracy, but it gets to a point where it's not a democracy anymore.
On Sunday, your son, Donald Trump Jr., responded to a reporter's question about,
you know, according to Trump's new doctrine, we're no longer going to be trying to protect democracy around the world. We're only going to focus on our side of the hemisphere, which is the Western hemisphere. So whatever you guys want to do in the Eastern hemisphere, good luck to you. We're going to assert dominance over here. We're going to try to kick China out of all dominance and all of the oil refineries and rare earth refineries in South America, and we're going to take care of our side. This is what Trump is proposing, and this is going to sound wild, and it's going to leave everybody a bit scared. Actually, this is why the EU is kind of melting down about this. We're pretty much saying that, look, we're not going to protect you from Russia or China, so you better play nice with them. No, you can no longer be warmongering against Russia because we're not going to be there to back you up. We're actually going to just focus on what's going on in South America, in Mexico, and just claim our hemispherical power. We don't really got to worry about Canada too much. And you guys worry about Russia and China. Yes, I know you feel like we're abandoning you, but it is what it is.
Whether you will, quote, walk away from Ukraine. And your son said, I think he may. Is that correct?
No, it's not correct, but it's not exactly wrong. We have to, they have to play ball if they don't read agreements, potential agreements. It's not easy with Russia because Russia has the upper hand, and they always did. They're much bigger, they're much stronger in that sense. I give Ukraine a lot of. I give the people of Ukraine and the military of Ukraine tremendous credit for the bravery and for the fighting and all of that. But at some point, size will win generally. And this is a massive.
Yeah, I just wish the Biden administration would have been a bit honest about that. Like literally running the craziest propaganda campaign to convince you that Ukraine could beat Russia. Like, a country with a bigger army, a bigger population, bigger arsenal, just bigger everything. And we thought that we could just put a little bit of money in our little brother Ukraine's pocket and tell him to go fight Russia. Okay, guys. Okay.
Size. You take a look at the numbers. I mean, the numbers are just crazy. This is not a war that should have happened. This is a war that would have never happened if I were president. It's so sad. Millions of people are dead. Many, many soldiers. Last month they lost 27,000 soldiers and some people from missiles being launched into Kiev and other places. But what a sad thing for humanity. This doesn't affect us. Our country is no longer paying any money. It was just Biden gave him $350 billion so stupidly. And, if he wouldn't have given.
Oh, guys, let's not forget to double tap that screen, like the video, guys. Let's get more people on the conversation by double tapping that screen. Appreciate the support, guys.
Maybe something else would have happened. But
Sir...
Putin had no respect for Biden, and he had no respect for Zelensky. Didn't like Zelensky. They really hate each other. And part of the problem is they hate each other really a lot, and it's very hard for them to try and make a deal. It's harder than most. I settled 8 wars, and this, I would have said, this is the 9th. This would have been the easiest one, I would have said, or one of the easier ones. I mean, I settled one that was going on for 36 years. I settled Pakistan and India. I settled so many wars. I'm very proud of it. And I do it pretty routinely, pretty easily. It's not hard for me.
What I would tell Trump is that the difference between those conflicts that you ended and Russian-Ukraine war is that we're dealing with a whole superpower. All of those conflicts that you ended, we were not dealing with China or Russia in those conflicts. If we were, it would not have been ended without Russia getting their way. And it does kind of seem that, hey, man, you mess with a superpower, and the superpower most likely going to get their way. And Russia is a superpower, like it or not, along with China. Like it or not. And of course we are, because for some reason in America, we're like the only superpower that we recognize is us for some strange reason.
Me to do. It's what I do. I make deals. This one is tough. One of the reasons is the level of hatred between Putin and Zelensky is tremendous.
And you're right. You're not spending money, but you sir are spending your time and your energy on this.
I want to stop saving. I want to stop seeing people killed.
If this deal, if Zelensky rejects this deal, like, is there a timeline? Is there a point at which you say, okay?
Well, he's going to have to get on the ball and start accepting things. When you're losing, because you're losing.
Thank you.
Do you think Ukraine has lost this war?
Thank you, Trump, for admitting that. Thank you. He's losing. He's losing the war. According to the president, according to almost every political figure outside of America, Zelensky is losing the war. Now do you understand how bad it is now? Now that Trump even got to recognize that, yeah, bro, Zelensky's losing this. There's no use in putting any more money into it. And if he doesn't accept this peace deal, Ukraine might be cooked. Like, oh shit. And I'm talking to the pro-Ukrainian guys. Is that what y'all really want? Because losing 10 to 20% is bad. But losing 50% of the whole country is a catastrophe. And guess what? We're not going to do anything about it. We're not. Sorry.
Well, they've lost territory long before I got here. They lost a whole strip of seafront, big seafront. I mean, you look at the maps. I've been here for 10 months, but you go back 10 months and take a look. They lost that whole strip. It's now a bigger strip. It's a wider strip, but they lost a lot of land, and it's very good land, too, that they lost. You certainly wouldn't say it's a victory. I could show you a chart. It's a lot of land they lost.
It's a lot of land. I think
think of it. If our election wasn't rigged, it was a rigged election. Now everyone knows it. It's going to come out over the next couple of months too, loud and clear, because we have all the information. But if the election wasn't rigged and stolen, you wouldn't even be talking about Ukraine right now.
The resounding consensus in Europe right now is that they want to keep supporting Ukraine until they can win this war.
Because they're idiots.
Until they drop,
Well, bro, that's what I'm saying. Keep supporting Ukraine until you win the war, bro. There's going to be no more Ukrainians left. Like, and if Putin sees that's your objective, then I mean, prepare for Kiev to get it. Like, I'll be real with you, air raided, possibly even nuked. Like, I hope that you don't push Putin that far, Europe, because the blood is going to be on your hands. If you want to keep supporting Ukraine to the last Ukrainian, because it ain't going to be to the last Russian, then keep it up. But I promise you, the blood's on y'all hands, and y'all better leave us out of it.
Realistic in your view?
I mean, look, then they should support it. Europe I'm friendly with all of them. I mean, I like all of them. I have no real enemy. I've had a couple that I didn't like over the years. I actually like the current crew. I like them a lot. But and I know them very well. I know them really well. Some are friends, some are okay. I know the good leaders. I know the bad leaders. I know the smart ones. I know the stupid ones. You got some real stupid ones too. But they're not doing a good job. Europe is not doing a good job in many ways. They're not doing a good job.
I want to ask
they
you
talk
about
too
that.
much, and they're not producing. We're talking about Ukraine. They talk, but they don't produce. And the war just keeps going on. And
Thank you. They talk, but they don't produce. They'll sit there and they'll hip hip hooray over a small little drone strike in the sea. But did you take back any land? Oh no, but we struck an oil refinery. Did you take back land? But the oil refinery said it doesn't matter. It didn't hurt it. They got fences around it. They didn't do nothing really to them. Did you take back any land from Russia? And they will tell you no. No, we're just hip hooray over every little strike that we could pull off on Russia. And they pulled off some impressive things, especially with the Trojan horse drone operation. That was impressive, but it wasn't going to win you the war. Let's be honest now.
I mean, 4 years now it's been going on, long before I got here. This is not my war. This is Joe Biden's war. And in terms of America, it's a very sad thing. And the only reason I really care about it is because I hate to see young, beautiful people being killed.
Yeah, don't we all?
That's largely why I got involved. I mean, if you look at the Congo and Rwanda, that's been going on. 14 million people at least killed. Nobody has any idea how many, but killed. Machetes, a lot of machete killings, vicious. But if you look at the wars, and some of the wars that really were going to be millions and millions of people. The Prime Minister of Pakistan said, I saved millions of people by getting involved with stopping India and Pakistan from fighting.
I do want to go back to Europe for a moment, though, because you said they're not doing a lot of things right in your view. And just
they can't be doing right, because look what's happened.
Well, your administration just released a new national security strategy that sent shockwaves throughout Europe. The strategy.
Oh no, I loved it. I love the strategy. It's America first. It's about America dominance in our hemisphere, and we're gonna stop being the police of the world. Which I wouldn't be surprised if Trump started drawing back all the troops in the Middle East, in Japan, all through Europe. We just back out of NATO completely, and we tell those guys good luck with China and Russia. We're gonna keep things dominant on our side. We're gonna kick the Chinese out of South America, make sure we have dominance over there, and the Chinese will probably just move on to one of you guys. It is what it is. And if you want a little bit more details on it, I have this nice little clip for you guys. So enjoy.
America just quietly dropped a new global doctrine. It basically says we're not the world's police anymore. Jeez, finally. We're the boss of our own hemisphere and everyone else can deal with theirs. On December 5th, the White House released Trump's new national security strategy. Inside the document is something they're already calling the Trump corollary to the old Monroe Doctrine. Translation, the United States is already declaring dominance over the Western Hemisphere. North America, Central America, South America, and the Caribbean. He's basically saying that this is our neighborhood, our rules. At the same time, it signals something huge. America is stepping back from trying to manage every crisis on the planet. Here's the core of it. America first, but not just the slogan, as the actual blueprint. The strategy says that the US is done acting like a global babysitter and instead wants to be a regional superpower at home with select pressure overseas. It talks about sovereignty, borders, migration, cartels, critical minerals, energy, not spreading democracy or building global institutions. And in Europe, the document literally talks about civilization erasure, mass migration, and cultural collapse, and basically tells Europe you're on your own. In the Americas, this doctrine means cracking down on cartels and narco-terror groups, pushing back hard on China's influence in Latin America, and trying to stabilize countries down south so mass migration doesn't end up on US border. In Europe, leaders are freaking out. French and EU leaders are calling it brutal and a declaration of political war, because it blows up the old idea that America will always bail out Europe first. And on Russia and China, this doctrine quietly accepts a world of spheres of influence, meaning that it acknowledges that there are only 3 global powers, the US, Russia, and China. The goal is to avoid a giant global war by not trying to run everything anymore. So here's the question, is this smart realism where we're admitting that we can't police the entire planet, or is it dangerous because it gives Russia, China, and Iran more room to operate in their own backyards? Does America get stronger when it focuses on its own hemisphere, or weaker if it stops acting like the glue that holds the old world order together?
Man. All right, so shout out to that young man right there, because that is exactly what we're dealing with. Yeah, those times of interfering in problems that Europe causes is dead. We're done. We're not doing it no more. I mean, Taiwan, I'm gonna be real with you guys. Y'all might want to get down with being part of China and Europe. I mean, you might want to start picking up on some Russian. Like, I'm just gonna say this, in South America, y'all might want to start learning some English, because that's what it sounds like where we're going with it. And it's way easier to dominate a hemisphere instead of the entire globe. Way easier.
As a key pillar of American foreign policy should be, quote, cultivating resistance to Europe's current trajectory within European nations. How much should European leaders prepare for your administration to push to reshape the continent's politics?
Well, Europe is a different place.
What do you mean
And
by
if
that?
it keeps going the way it's going, Europe will not be, in my opinion, many of those countries will not be viable countries any longer. Their immigration policy is a disaster. What they're doing with immigration is a disaster. We had a disaster coming, but I was able to stop it. You know, we have no people coming through our borders now. 0, 7 months. I mean, who would believe 0? We went from millions of people, in some cases, millions of people a month, but millions of people to no people.
That's not what Europe looks like.
The opposite. Yeah, I know Europe. They're coming in from all parts of the world, not just the
Well,
Middle East.
the countries in Europe, well, most of them have a reckless legal immigration policy, especially France. And France is the main perpetrator because of their reckless legal immigration policy. Kind of affects all the other European nations. So, you know, if you really want to help Europe out, I mean, somebody need to tell France to get their shit together and stop letting these guys in that coming in through the boat. Maybe you don't have to blow up some of these boats so nobody come through. I know it sounds a bit effed up, but hey, if you want to fix a bad problem, you got to take harsh measures.
They're coming in from the Congo, tremendous numbers of people coming from the Congo. And even worse, they're coming from prisons of the Congo and many other countries. And for some reason, they want to be politically correct, which actually I think is the opposite of politically correct. But they want to be politically correct, and they don't want to send them back to where they came from. Mm-hmm. And Europe is, if you take a look at Paris, it's a much different place. I loved Paris. It's a much different place than it was. If you take a look at London, you have a mayor named Khan. He's a horrible mayor. He's an incompetent mayor, but he's a horrible, vicious, disgusting mayor. I think he's done a terrible job. London's a different place. I love London. I love London. And I hate to see it happen. You know, my roots are in Europe, as you know.
Right.
And I hate to see that happen. This is one of the great places in the world, and they're allowing people just to come in and unchecked, unvetted.
So how involved are you going to get? I mean, could we see you getting involved in European
I want to
elections,
run the
for
United
example?
States. I don't want to run Europe. I'm involved in Europe very much.
Might you endorse
NATO
candidates?
calls me daddy. I mean, I have a lot to say about it. Look, I raised, you know, the
Okay,
GDP
that got me off
2%.
guard. That caught me off guard. But yes, pretty much Trump got the title daddy from when he went to NATO and got these guys to increase their military spending from 2 to 5%. Not only did he get them to increase it to that 5%, but that extra spending they will be spending with the USA. So he got his way and more.
To 5%, the 2% they weren't paying and the 5% they are paying. And
That
they're
caught me
paying
off
it
guard. I'm
because
sorry.
when we send things over, NATO pays for it. And I assume they give it to Ukraine. But Europe is being.
Oh, guys, you got any questions, comments, jokes, or disagreements? I'll be happy to read it out loud and engage with it. Just $2 and up. Appreciate your support, or just send a gift. Oh, let's not forget to double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Let's get more people on the conversation by double tapping that screen. All right, let's go.
Destroyed.
Would you consider getting involved in some of those elections to put in leaders that you think are better suited?
Well, I've endorsed people, but I've endorsed people that a lot of Europeans don't like. I've endorsed Viktor Orban. I endorsed, go back to South America, Latin America, South America, Milei, Argentina. He was losing in the election, and I endorsed him, and he won in a landslide.
Yeah, with Viktor Orban, beyond endorsing, he recently said that you promised him access to U.S.-backed financial shield worth up to $20 billion. Is that right?
No, I didn't promise him, but he certainly asked for it. But
would you consider giving that to him?
I just think he's doing a very good job in a different sense on immigration. His country's landlocked. You know, he's got a different kind of a country. He doesn't have the sea, so he can't have ships coming in with energy. He's got a big pipe coming in from Russia. They've had it for a long time. It's a different situation he's got.
So would you consider some financial assistance there?
He's really gotten right is the immigration, because he allows nobody in his country. And Poland has done a very good job in that respect too. But most European,
I mean, that's why they're probably one of the most hated European countries, because they don't allow reckless immigration into their country. And they try to call Poland and Hungary racist because the only immigrants that they let in were, well, the white Christians coming out of Ukraine. That's the only people they let in. That's it. That's all.
Nations, they're decaying. They're decaying.
You can imagine some leaders in Europe are a little freaked out by what your posture is, and European.
No, they should be freaked out by what they're doing to their countries. They're destroying their countries.
Well, European Council
and
President.
they're people I like. Look, they're people I like. I get along with them. You know that. But they can't let this happen. And it gets to a point where you can't really correct it. There'll be a point, and it's very close to that point.
And what will that mean?
It will mean that they're no longer going to be strong nations.
Does that mean they won't be allies
Or
anymore?
they'll be, well, it depends, you know, it depends. They'll change their ideology, obviously, because the people coming in have a totally different ideology. But it's going to make them much weaker. They'll be much weaker, and they'll be much different.
And what will that mean for our relationship
Look at
with
your mayor
them?
of London. He's a disaster. He's a disaster. He's got a totally different ideology of what he's supposed to have. And he gets elected because so many people have come in and they vote for him now because, you know, it's like, it's one of those things. But I hate what's happened to London, and I hate what's happened to Paris. I hate when I see it.
You know, sir, it's sometimes hard to tell when you say these things. Do you intend to send kind of a message of tough love to our allies?
And that's the craziest thing, because I know that was what Tucker Carlson was trying to get across to Piers Morgan as well. It's like, bro, do you not see what's going on with your country? Do you not see how things are changing dramatically? And, you know, Piers is there like, no, nothing at all. Everything's all good. Dude, you're just Islamophobic. It's like, Piers, like, trust me, I'm not an Islamophobic, but even I can sit there and be like, dog, don't you think your immigration process is a bit too reckless? You're not a big country like us. So you can only let in so many people before it actually does cause a diaspora problem.
Allies to push them to make reforms, or do you think that many of them are just weak and you don't really want to be allies with them?
I think they're weak, but I also think that they want to be so politically correct. I think they don't know what to do. Europe doesn't know what to do. They don't know what to do on trade either. I mean, I look at a lot of the trade situation that's going on over there. It's a little bit dangerous, but Europe, they want to be politically correct, and it makes them weak. That's what makes them weak.
It sounds like you want to see some pretty massive changes.
Well, I think they should get the people out that came into the country illegally.
I want to ask about NATO.
If you take a look at Sweden, so Sweden was known as the safest country in Europe, one of the safest countries in the world. Now it's known as a very unsafe, pretty unsafe country. It's not even believable. It's a whole different country, Sweden.
Well, and Sweden most recently joined NATO. One of the things that the national security strategy says is that the U.S. should work toward ending the perception and preventing the reality of NATO as a perpetually expanding alliance. Are there countries in NATO that you think shouldn't be in the alliance?
Well,
Sweden,
there
for
are
example?
countries that are difficult for NATO. Not that they shouldn't be. I think it's good to have them. Turkey's an example. Erdogan, he's a friend of mine. Whenever they have a problem with Erdogan, they ask me to call because they can't speak to him. He's a tough cookie. I actually like him a lot. I think actually, look, he's built a strong country, strong military, but they have a hard time dealing with him, and they ask me to call him. And I do call him, and I always work it out with him. He and I work it out really quickly. We had some people that he released that were taken and going through years and years of court cases and everything else. And I said, you got to release him. And he did. He is, very different than a lot of the other leaders, but they have a hard time with him. But, they shouldn't really have a hard time.
Should NATO stop accepting new members? Should NATO end where it is now?
Well, there aren't that many left when you get right down to it, right? There aren't that many left. It was always, long before Putin, it was an understanding that Ukraine would not be going into NATO. This was long before Putin, in all fairness.
Yeah, long before Putin, in all fairness, there were a verbal agreement, not a written, but a verbal agreement that NATO would never accept Ukraine because Russia does not want a military alliance on their border. Now you're saying, Seth, but what about the other ones that are on their border that's part of NATO? And that's actually a good point. I don't know what was up with Putin in that regard, but apparently Ukraine was the last straw. And he warned us, and we kind of just said, well, what you going to do about it? We took the other countries on y'all border. So, and that's pretty much what NATO was telling to Putin, like, we took the other countries, so what you going to do about Ukraine? And surprise, surprise, he actually did something and put boots on the ground over Ukraine. And here we are today, even though we did, or NATO verbally promised Putin that we would never accept Ukraine into NATO.
And now they pushed, when Zelensky first went in and first met Putin, he said, I want two things. I want Crimea.
Oh, man, shout out to my man Jet for starting this off. He says, Europe does what it does best, steal and get invaded. I'm weak. Well, bro. And shout out to my man Jet for starting us off, guys. You have any questions, comments, jokes, and disagreements? I'll be happy to read it out loud. Appreciate the support, man. But yeah, shout out for starting us off.
Back, and we're going to be a member of NATO. He didn't say it in a very nice way either. He's a great salesman. I call him P.T. Barnum. You know who P.T. Barnum was, right?
I do.
One of the greatest on earth. He could sell any product at any time. That was his expression. I can sell any product at any time. It was true. He said, doesn't matter whether it works or not. But he's P.T. Barnum. He got crooked Joe Biden to give him $350 billion. And look what it got. It got him about 25% of his country is missing. And in all fairness to Biden, Obama gave away Crimea.
Right, that all happened in 2014.
Obama, because Crimea was the heart. I'm a real estate person at heart, right? I'm very good at real estate. And every time I look at that map, I said, oh, this Crimea is so beautiful. Wow.
Well, here's the thing. Ever since we tried to pop off that color revolution, which, I mean, ironically, we had some of our own politicians down there participating in the color revolution that was going on in Ukraine at that time. Yeah, after that, and they got themselves a anti-Russia, leader, Zelensky. Yeah, that's when Russia kind of stopped playing around and actually took Crimea and annexed Crimea in 2014. So once again, it was due to our interference from the CIA to push a color revolution, which succeeded, but it did pretty much invoke Russia to take Crimea.
It's surrounded on four sides by ocean.
So it depends on your
definition. It's only got a little
succeeded.
piece of land to get to, to the main well, the main. I mean, Crimea is massive, but it connects the part of Ukraine that we talk about now
Right.
through a small little jetty. It's 4 sides of ocean in the warmest part. It's got the best weather, best everything. And I know you are Ukrainian and you know Ukraine very well. And Obama forced them to give up Crimea. That was I remember when it happened, but I wasn't involved like I am now. You know, to the knowledge that I have now, I have great knowledge of Ukraine now. I have great knowledge of
really,
many
this conflict began back.
Oh, guys, and do me a favor and double tap that screen and get the likes up. Let's get more people on the conversation by double tapping that screen. Appreciate the support, guys.
In 2014, people forget, long before the invasion of a few years ago.
Well, you know when this conflict really began, though? It was simmering for years, but when Obama gave up Crimea, that was a big thing.
I do want to ask.
Do you agree with that? That was a big piece to give up. You are of Ukrainian descent.
That was a major. I mean, that was. I remember, you know, when I first moved to the United States, a lot of people didn't know what Ukraine even was, and it was in 2014 that people suddenly started to realize how significant geopolitically that area really is.
I just say, from the standpoint of beauty, weather, everything, Crimea is the warmest. It's just got such great potential. And Obama forced them. Obama did this. This is not Biden. Well, maybe he was involved, but I doubt it. He probably didn't know too much then either. He was never the brightest bulb. But, you know, Obama gave away. He made them give it away.
Well, I do think your approach to Europe is so different than any of your predecessors. And
I just want to see a strong Europe.
And this national security strategy, I mean, says a lot about the changes that you want.
But you have to understand. Here's my approach to Europe. I want to see a strong Europe. When they allow millions of people to pour into their countries, many of these people are committing tremendous crimes. And again, look at Sweden. I'm not knocking Sweden. I love Sweden. I love the people of Sweden. But they go from a crime-free country to a country that has a lot of crime now. Look at Germany. Germany was crime-free, and Angela made 2 big mistakes: immigration and energy. But those 2 are beauties.
Well, one country that is pleased with the change in strategy from the United States is Russia. A Kremlin spokesperson called the strategy document a, quote, positive step, and said the adjustments they're seeing are, quote, largely consistent with Moscow's vision. Do you think that's a good thing?
Well, I think he'd like to see a weak Europe. And
like, let's just speak some truth here. The fall of every great civilization was the fact that they tried to expand their army around the world. That, like, they was trying to be the world police. I mean, it's why the Spain Empire was brought down, the British Empire was brought down, all because they're trying to achieve global dominance, which they all failed on tremendously. So maybe, just maybe, instead of trying to be the world superpower and the world police, we can be the main superpower in our hemisphere. And maybe that'd be a lot better than trying to, you know, I would say, police the entire world.
So, you know, to be honest with you, he's getting that. That has nothing to do with me.
But he thinks the changes that you're making and what you laid out in your vision for Europe is what Moscow wants to see.
I have no vision for Europe. All I want to see is a strong Europe.
And let's be real, Trump is actually making a good point when he talks about Crimea. I mean, let's be real. You guys weren't willing to step for Crimea at that point. No, y'all just let Crimea get taken away. You know, nobody wanted to ever criticize Obama for that at all. Because I never heard no criticism, no type of criticism from anybody on the left about how Obama literally just gave Crimea to Putin. None at all.
Look, I have a vision for the United States, America first. It's make America great again. I do explain to Europe because I think, you know, I'm supposed to be a very smart person. I have eyes, I have ears, I have knowledge, I have vast knowledge. I see what's happening. I get reports that you will never see. And I think it's horrible what's happening to Europe. I think it's endangering Europe as we know it. Europe could be a whole different place.
Your impact.
And I think the European people should do something about it.
Your impact does stretch far beyond Europe. I want to talk about another area where you're making your mark, which is in Venezuela. You've said that Nicolas Maduro's days are numbered and that the U.S. could soon strike Venezuelan territory. Could we see American troops on the ground in Venezuela?
I don't comment on that. I wouldn't say that one way or the other. I can say this, that He sent us millions of people, many from prisons, many drug dealers and drug lords, mental institution, people in mental institutions. He sent them into our country where we had a very stupid president. You know that. Biden's a low IQ person, especially nowadays. I mean, he was low IQ 30 years ago, but he was especially low IQ.
And the problem about this whole thing in Venezuela is that it just resembles the Iraq War a little too much. Anybody kind of noticed that? How this does kind of resemble how we were kind of thrown into the Iraq War? Like, or do I just need to bring up a video to explain, you know, the similarities here? Because I got you on that.
Now. And what he did to our country is not good. Tren de Aragua, the gangs, one of the meanest gangs in the world.
You've locked down the border now.
No, he sent a lot of these people. He also sends in a lot of drugs. So we'll see how it all works out.
So
but
do you
I
want
can't talk about
So
strategy.
how far would you go to take Maduro out of office?
I don't want to say that,
But you want to see him out?
his days are numbered.
Can you rule out an American ground invasion?
I don't want to
Venezuela?
rule in or out. I don't talk about it. Why would I talk to you, an extremely unfriendly publication, if you want to call it Politico, that got $8 million from Obama to keep it afloat? Why would I do that? Why would I talk about that to Politico? I mean, I'm doing this because you picked me as a man
Well,
for
I'm
Europe, and I
asking
thought it was
for
appropriate
transparency
thing to do.
for their American people, because a lot of folks are,
Transparency.
well, people are
I'll tell you,
wondering
I am
what
the
is,
most transparent politician maybe in the world.
a lot of
okay?
folks are wondering what our goals are in
Sure,
Venezuela.
but I don't want to talk to you about military strategy.
Well, may I ask then, what is your goal in Venezuela? What do you want to see with the actions that you're taking?
Well, one goal is I want the people of Venezuela to be treated well.
Okay.
I want the people of Venezuela, many of whom live in the United States, to be respected.
I mean, but let's be real though. We can actually do that working with Maduro and damn near making him, I guess, our puppet, instead of just trying to, you know, invoke all this military action into pushing him out of there. I mean, if that's what it's all about, but let me hear the rest of the goals that he won.
I mean, they were tremendous to me. They voted for me 94% or something. I mean, it's incredible. I own a big project, Doral. It's a great place, Doral Country
Been there.
Club. Yeah, and it's a very large place, beautiful place, right in the middle of. They call it Little Venezuela, and I got to know the Venezuelan people very well because of that. I've owned it for a long time, and they're unbelievable people. The area is such a successful area. Everybody is successful. It's amazing. They say if a house is for sale for more than 3 days, there's something wrong. I mean, a house, if somebody wants to sell their house, they sell it in just a matter of moments. People love the area. And I got to know the people well. They're incredible people. And they were treated horribly by Maduro.
And are those the kind of immigrants that you do want to see in America?
They certainly contribute. Yeah, I want to see people. Yeah, I want to see people that contribute. I don't want to see Somalia. I don't want to see a woman that, marries her brother to get in and then becomes a congressman, does nothing but complain. All she does is complain. And yet her country's a mess. It's one of the worst in the world.
Now, I'll be real with you. Somalia is a mess, but I have not found no evidence that Ilhan Omar married her brother. I haven't found no evidence on that, but she is ungrateful as hell. I mean, I played this at the beginning of the show, so I'll play it again to let you guys know how ungrateful this young lady is, or, well, middle-aged lady.
Meet Ilhan Omar. She fled Somalia's civil war to live the American dream. And boy, is she living it. $30 million in assets, a venture capital firm, and a winery. But according to Omar herself, America is being turned into one of the worst countries in the world. If this is the nightmare, sign us up. Ilhan Omar calls herself a democratic socialist, fighting for the working class with Medicare for all, student debt forgiveness, and big tax hikes on the rich. But hey, who says socialism can't come with a side of luxury wine and venture capital? In February, she tweeted, "I barely have thousands." Then her financial disclosure dropped, showing millions. Oops, must have forgotten to count the VC fund. Her campaign paid her husband's consulting firm $3 million, and now his investments are booming. What a coincidence. She rails against the 1% while quietly becoming the 1%. That's not hypocrisy, that's entrepreneurship, baby. And don't forget, whenever caught in controversy, it's always due to racism or Islamophobia. Maybe the secret ingredient to millionaire status is never, ever admitting a bad take. What do you think?
You know, just a slight introduction into the hypocrisy of Ilhan Omar.
Let her go back, fix up her own country. Somalia, yeah, and I was right about it. You know, I started complaining about Somalia long before the scandal. The horrible things they're doing to Minnesota, it's incredible. They have an incompetent governor there too. The Democrats are running some bad ships.
Speaking of ships, I do want to talk about the boat strikes. The defense secretary, should he testify, Pete Hegseth, under oath before Congress about that controversial second strike on the alleged drug boat October?
I don't care if he does. He can if he wants. I don't care.
Do you think he should?
I don't care. I would say do it if you want. Pete. He's doing a great job.
Have you watched the video?
He was stopping. I watched everything. Yeah, I watch everything. I see a lot of things.
And do you believe that that second strike was necessary?
Well, it looked like they were trying to turn back over the boat, but I don't get involved in that. That's up to them. The admiral that did that is a highly respected, as you know, a highly respected man. And we save 25,000 people every time we knock out a boat. On average, they kill 25,000 Americans. So, you know, I don't like doing that, but the drugs coming in through the sea are down by 92%. And I'm trying to figure out the 8%. Who are they? Nobody wants to drive boats to America loaded up with drugs anymore.
Well, I do want to ask,
and we're going to hit them on land very soon, too.
Almost all the illicit fentanyl in the United States is actually produced in Mexico using precursor chemicals from China, according to the DEA. And Venezuela isn't a significant source.
Now, that is true. Venezuela isn't a significant source of the fentanyl that's being made, but I mean, let's be real. They got cocaine that they make over. They got cocaine that they grow over there. They got heroin over there. And of course, they can transport people still, human smuggling. So you can't sit there and pretend like there's nothing going on in Venezuela, even though it's not the fentanyl. If we want to blame anybody for the fentanyl, it's really China and India, mainly India. Surprise, surprise.
Or transit country for fentanyl. It barely appears on the DEA's trafficking assessments.
Well, they do send lots of drugs. Those boats come in largely from Venezuela, so I would say that's a significant. And you can see the drugs. You can see these bags all over the boat. I mean, just bags.
So
if
it's
bags
about
and
drugs,
bags.
would you consider?
But let me tell you what they do. They send really, really bad people into our country, and they've done it better than anybody else. They emptied their prisons into our country, and these prisoners are seriously tough. They entered, all of their prisons have been emptied into the United States of America. Murderers, 11,888
So is
murderers.
this about making sure Maduro sees justice then?
11,888 murderers were entered into our country. And Stupid Joe took all those people, and now we're getting them out. We're finding them. We found a lot.
Well, let me tell you something else also Joe Biden kind of effed up on with. Well, was Maduro. Now, the Joe Biden administration worked out a deal with the Maduro regime to give back his brother and family member who's caught drug smuggling, right? So the Biden administration give these guys back on the promise that Maduro will hold a fair election. Maduro holds the election, but he steals it. So it's pretty. So now the Biden administration seen that as a win. He's like, oh, well, it doesn't really matter. We can't prove that he stole it as long as he held it. The Trump administration sees it as, no, you stole that election. Now we need you out of here. We can't even trust to work with you.
A lot of them, and we're getting them out or we're putting them in jail. Some are so dangerous and so bad that we don't want to put them back to their country because they'll find a way to get back in. But these are stone cold murderers. But every time we knock out a boat, we save 25,000 American lives.
So would you consider doing something similar with Mexico and Colombia that are even more responsible for fentanyl trafficking into the U.S.?
Sure, I would.
You pardoned former Honduran President Juan Orlando Hernandez and let him out of prison, even though he was convicted in a massive international drug trafficking scheme. How is that zero tolerance on drug trafficking?
Well, I don't know him, and I know very little about him, other than people said it was like.
So, yes, this Juan guy, Juan, for instance, well, I know his first name, Juan. Yes, but the ex-president of Honduras was pretty much, they believe he was set up. Now, and this was the reason that they was giving for his pardon, that he was set up because when he was president, he was actually going after the cartel, and he was going after any type of foreign investments that was helping the cartel. So it was kind of funny when all the charges came down, somehow he was pushed to the front of the line, even though he was the main one fighting the cartel, and he was the one that pretty much took the charges. So they're pretty much saying that we locked up an innocent man, pretty much, who's actually fighting the cartel because, well, the cartel's influence in Honduras, it ain't stopped. Let's be honest.
A Obama Biden type setup where he was set up. He was the president of the country. The country deals in drugs like probably you could say that about every country. And because he was the president, they gave him like 45 years in prison. And there are many people fighting for Honduras, very good people that I know. And they think he was treated horribly, and they asked me to do it, and I said, I'll do it.
Do you think that could send the wrong message to
No,
drug
I don't
dealers?
think so. Look, I think, when you weaponize government, they've weaponized their government just like they did over here. I'm one of the people that survived, but they weaponized the government. We had the most weaponized government. Our election was rigged. They went after me. I was impeached twice. I was indicted. They indicted me. I came out good. Here we are in the White House. Things are looking nice, but they were vicious. And they are vicious. They're sick people.
We've talked a lot about foreign policy. You've spent a ton of your first year focused on those conflicts around the world. And that has led to some concerns, even from your own supporters, that there hasn't been enough focus on some of the issues here at home. I know that this week you're going back out on the trail, giving me flashbacks of covering your rallies here. You're hitting the road to talk about the economy. I wonder, sir, what grade would you give your economy right now?
Before I answer that, let me just tell you something. I've watched stupid people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, or some people call her Taylor Greene, some people call her Taylor Brown, because green sometimes turns to brown, which isn't nice. But I've watched her say that he spends too much time on foreign. Well, by doing that, and first of all, it doesn't take a lot of time. I made one trip. I brought back trillions of dollars on that one trip. I stopped in Japan. I stopped in South Korea. I met with President Xi and ended.
You went to the Middle East. I was on that trip with you.
Went to the Middle East. I brought back $3 trillion from the Middle East. I sold many Boeing airplanes on that trip, like 300. When I go on a trip, I only have one place in mind. It's the United States. So when people with low IQs like Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's a low IQ person. When she says it's too, but she was a loyal person until I wasn't able to answer her phone calls because I'm just too busy to answer people's phone calls. You can't call me 3 times a day, and it's just not appropriate when I have over 200 congressmen, 53 senators, 212 countries. All of these people.
So he pretty much saying that Marjorie Taylor Greene was pretty much harassing them. I mean, well, it makes sense. But to be quite honest, the Marjorie Taylor Greene was speaking on some important things. The way she was going about it, I disagree with. But speaking on affordability and telling Trump to park the Air Force One and stay in America and make, and focus on domestic policies was actually a pretty cool thing to say. I'll be real with you. Like, I felt that.
Calling and a family. Actually, the family suffers. It's harder for me to call back the family. But when you think of what I've done, remember rare earth and the problem with magnets and all of these things that was going to shut down the whole world. I worked it out with President Xi. We have a good relationship. I worked it out with President Xi.
So
very favorable to the United States.
Does come back to the economy
wait a
in the U.S., right?
You made a statement, though, that I devote too much time to outside of the United States. I've made a fortune for the United States by focusing on things.
To be clear, that's
outside.
not my statement. That's just what some of your supporters and some others have said.
Well, then, I can't imagine their supporters because I made a fortune and spent very little time. All of my time is spent here. Most of my time is spent here. But when I do go outside, it's only going outside for here. For instance, settling and solving the problem with China, that has a huge effect in the United States. Making deals with Japan, South Korea, Indonesia, all of these countries, you're talking about trillions and trillions of dollars. So I guess I could say, let's not deal with anybody. We wouldn't have much of a country. We wouldn't have much of an economy. We make a lot of money with these countries. Now, in the past, these countries all ripped us off. If you go back during Biden, if you go back during Obama, they were ripping us off like no country's ever been ripped off. That's why we owe $38 trillion. I mean, we owe it for a reason. But just remember, when we had a problem with China very recently, I was able to work that out. You don't work that out by not talking to people, by not answering with the magnets, with the rare earth. It was a big problem.
I mean, that is true, because I do like how Trump's taking a proactive approach to trying to gain some type of dominance in rare earths, to mining, to gaining some type of independence away from China. So, this is what I don't like. The fact is that the Dems, they just wanted the status quo. And they was going to walk us right off the cliffs when it came to the jobs and the debt and the reckless spending. So something had to be changed. And here's the thing that the Democrat base will never admit. It's like they have no plan. Even when it comes to affordability, all they do is complain with no plan. When the most unaffordable places in America are blue states and blue cities. So it's like they really cannot be talking when you're going to pay about a 10 to 30% difference on groceries in Ohio compared to New York. You're going to spend, I'm gonna be real with you, it's going to be a 15 to 30% difference in what you pay in a red state than a blue state. And you're going to be paying less in that red state.
An impact here back home.
Well, no impact.
So it's really hard to listen to Dems complain about affordability when they run the most unaffordable states.
We would have been shut down. China would have been shut down. The whole world would have been shut down. So wait a minute. So some people would say, don't focus on anything outside of our border.
Well, lie again.
I like that too. But I've made trillions and trillions of dollars, and
I'm sorry, but Robert, lie again, bro. Lie again. Then what are you buying them? Bullshit? Like, bro, come on now. $100 won't get me and my daughter a week's of groceries. Now you're just lying. Unless you're a fucking fat ass dog, it can.
Solve problems and solve wars.
The lies you
most
gotta
of
tell.
the wars that I solved were solved sitting behind the Oval Office desk on a telephone.
You can disagree, but don't lie.
I think those are worthy phone calls. Even if they didn't impact us to save millions of lives from another country, and if I can do that easily because I have an ability, are pretty good.
But I do want to talk about the economy, sir, here at home. And I wonder what grade you would give
A+.
your economy. A+.
Yeah, A++++++.
Well, it's interesting because I talked to a supporter of yours. Her name is Melanie from Westmoreland County, PA, and she loves you. She gave you overall an A++ grade. But here's what she said about the economy. She said, quote, groceries, utility, insurance, and the basic cost of running small business keep rising faster than wages. She also says that not enough is being done. Mr. President, this is one of your supporters.
Okay, good. And I love her because you said I got an A+ on everything, I guess. I don't know. But
she's still worried about the economy.
But what you have to understand, the word affordability. I inherited a mess. I inherited a total mess. Yeah. Prices were at an all-time high when I came in. Prices are coming down substantially. Look at energy. You and I discussed before the interview, energy. Energy has come down incredibly. When energy comes down, everything, because it's so much bigger than any other subject, but energy has come down incredibly. Prices are all coming down. It's been 10 months. It's amazing what we've done. If you think of gasoline a gallon, they had it at $4.50, almost $5. You go to some of the states, you had it at $6. We hit 3 states 2 days ago, $1.99 a gallon. When that happens, everything comes down. Now, everything is coming down. With beef, I've just opened that up where beef is going to start coming down pretty substantially.
Would you consider more carve-outs on other goods that Americans find too expensive?
Now, this is what Trump was really trying to get to when he said, when the Dems say the word affordability. And the reason why I went off is because of this right here. I want you to look at this. I want you to look all together. Look, Trump's first term, and then here's Biden's term. We're talking about the cumulative consumer price index price increase by category, Trump versus Biden, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics consumer price indexes. All right. I really want you to look at this because blue is Biden, orange is Trump. So I already had explained everything to you. Pay attention. Overall pricing went up over 20% across the board. And that's just overall CPI. We got 20%, over 20% increase in groceries, 20% increase in housing. And the only thing Biden didn't fuck up was healthcare costs. So, I mean, we could thank him for that one. But you think, where do you think this 20% went in increase? Where do you think it went? And we're talking about from 2021 to 2025. Where do you think this went, my friend? It didn't go nowhere. Actually, the price increase that happened under Biden, we're still dealing with today. Only thing is more manageable because the inflation rate isn't at 9%. So yes, the Dems are once again bitching about a problem that they caused, just like immigration. It's actually hilarious how they do it. And it's clever. It really is, because their base believes anything. But, I mean, bro, they call us gullible. But all right. Shout out to my man Jordan. Good morning, everyone. Hey, man, shout out to my man Jordan. Appreciate you for pulling up. And good morning. Whoops, wrong one. I'm supposed to give you the air horn. Sorry, I moved around the button.
Well, some carve-outs, you mean from tariffs?
From tariffs, yeah. Like coffee, like
yeah,
bananas.
Sure, and I've done that
beef.
already.
Guys, and funny thing is, guys, I just showed them a whole graph, and they'll still say that I'm lying.
Coffee. They're very small carve-outs. It's
facts,
not a big deal. But let me tell you about the real economy. We've got $18 trillion coming into our country. Biden had less than $1 trillion for 4 years, and he was heading south. Our country was falling apart. 18 trillion because of tariffs. $18 trillion is coming into our country. I think because of tariffs and November 5th election, if you want to know the truth. But
so would you rule out reducing tariffs on any more goods?
On some, and then some I'll increase tariffs. Because you know what happens is because of tariffs, all of the car companies are coming back. You know, we lost 58% of the automobile business. We had a monopoly on the world. We had everything. And because we had presidents that either weren't smart or didn't have business sense, or their people didn't do a good job, they could have kept that. We could have kept the chip market. We had 100% of the chip market, Intel, all of these guys. You know, there's the thing. They came in to see me, Intel. They needed something to be done by the government.
Now, here's the thing, though. With Trump's tariffs, yeah, they have shown success. I'll be real with you. It's boasting the steel company. He's bringing back manufacturing of pharmaceuticals because AstraZeneca is breaking ground in Maryland. So we're going to start producing pharmaceuticals in Maryland. And then, of course, we got the chip manufacturing coming back. So those are good things. The problem is, though, that didn't really stop China from still achieving a $100 trillion trade surplus, which they mainly just boosted on rare earth mineral exports. And that's how they achieved it. It really had nothing to do with the trade war that we're going through. It just had everything to do with China's, well, honestly, dominance on rare earth refinery, which I ain't gonna lie, is pretty damn impressive. It's impressive. And shout out to my man Sid. If it was only people in blue states feeling the affordability crisis, cost of living, inflation wouldn't still be Americans' main concern, when in the polls, Trump is underwater on the economy. Yeah, in the what polls? Like, where are these polls coming from? Because it ain't the Fox News polls, we'll tell you that. It ain't the polls that usually Trump voters go for. Y'all usually go with what? ABC polls, CNN polls, and then you want to tell us how America feels when you're only going to polls or sourcing polls that your people go to, Sid. Like, let's be fair with this. Now, if you saw the Fox News or YouGov poll, you got me, dog. You got me. But if not, come on now. And I'm being fair with you on that one.
I said, I'm going to do it, but I think you have to give us 10% of your company. You know what happened? We made $40 billion on that deal. The price went through the roof. The United States, in about 10 minutes, I made $40 billion. Nobody talks about that.
I want to ask about interest rates, because a lot of Americans.
But then again, though, in all honesty, Sid, I can actually see him being down in Fox polls, but I will look that up. But only polls I've been seeing is the one that the left goes to. But here's the thing. Like I said, I've told this to you before, too. 4 years of Biden, of crazy inflation, of crazy price increasing, and you expect Trump to fix this in 11 months? When you guys sat by and watched all this get out of control for 4 years straight, telling us that this is the best economy ever, and then when it's all over, now you guys want to address the fact that prices went up over 20% across the board? Now you want to address it, even though it's happening under your guys for 4 years straight. I mean, this is why it's kind of hard to listen to you guys when it comes to affordability. Now, it is clever how you guys are spinning it right now, because you're trying to blame Trump for what? 11 months in office, but you guys made prices skyrocket for 4 years straight. But he's supposed to fix that in 11 months. Okay, I mean, all right, then I get it. They're not trying to be reasonable, I guess.
Agree with you that they're too high. You're going to pick a new Fed chair soon. Is it a litmus test that the new chair lower interest rates immediately?
Yes.
Now, he was out of pandemic. Let's be real.
Well, this guy too should too, but I think he's a combination of not a smart person and doesn't like Trump. But
So
the
you've
reason he
spoken
doesn't
with your
like
potential.
Trump, well, the reason he doesn't like Trump is because I hit him hard because he's doing a bad job.
So you've talked to your potential
We're
candidates.
fighting through interest rates. Look, he's a negative, but this country is doing so well. Again, we have $18 trillion being invested. Car companies are moving back that left us years ago. AI is coming in at levels never seen before. Factories are opening up all over the country. $18 trillion of investment in the United States. Again, with Biden, we would have lost $10 trillion, okay? 18, that's a record. You know who has the second record? China. China had 2 trillion. That's a lot, 2 trillion.
Here's the crazy thing is, like, the fact that prices went up under Biden and inflation was crazy under Biden isn't debatable. Well, the problem is just how the Democratic base don't see how that carries on into 2025. Like, that's what the absolute hilarious, like, that's what's so hilarious about, them talking about affordability. Because, like I said, one is mainly unaffordable in their states. Their states are the most expensive states to live in. And then two, I mean, they didn't do anything for those 4 years but make it worse. Like, even especially with the Inflation Reduction Act, especially with high spending, bro, in these bills, $1 trillion spendings, running a $2 trillion, well, close to $2 trillion deficit for 4 years straight, while increasing the money supply. I mean, what the fuck you thought was going to happen? Now, that is hilarious. But the rate of inflation was lower at the end of Biden. Well, actually, no, the rate of inflation was at 3.2. We're at 3.0 now. So we're at 3% exactly. But all right, the rate of inflation was lower at the end of Biden term than it is now, which I said was at 3.2, 3.4%, but Trump, we're at now 3%. Biden inherited a global inflation crisis due to COVID, and the United States had one of its best recoveries. Because we opened back up the economy, bro, that still doesn't account for the Inflationary Reduction Act that added trillions of dollars more spending. And then here's the thing. Trump did enough spending the first time, and that would have been that. It wouldn't have been that bad. The problem is Biden's advisor said, bro, if you do this, the inflation will carry on. If you do keep spending on these programs, we're going to have to print the money and add to the money supply. And then he tried to sit there and tell us to our face that inflation isn't what? Transitory? Like, bro, I get that you want to try to blame Trump, and I understand. Things are hard. I get that. But let's not forget that you guys sat by and watched prices skyrocket to the highest they've been, and then sat there when now you want to blame Trump. You sat there and watched inflation get to the 9% and it was crushing Americans, but what did you tell us? Oh, we're in the best economy ever. So I'm sorry, Sid, but even with your first statement is wrong.
We have $18 trillion. And that ultimately, you know what it reduces itself to? Jobs. You can have jobs like you've never seen in the United States.
Before I let you
And
go,
by the way, and prices are coming down. Just to talk about affordability.
And here's the thing, dog. I mean, if you're going to give him that excuse, then you got to give Trump the same excuse as well then. And you're not willing to do that because y'all want to demonize Trump about COVID. So if you want to give Biden that excuse, you got to give Trump the same excuse. And at that point, we just don't know who fault it is. We're just saying, look, man, we're just going to blame inflation, high prices on COVID and just get over it. I mean, I'm willing to get down with that. It kills the blame game, does it not?
Democrats love to say affordability, but then they never talk about it. They're the ones that gave us the high prices. I'm the one that's bringing them down.
One of the biggest issues on affordability right now is health care, and Obamacare subsidies are set to expire in a couple of weeks, which will lead to higher prices for millions of Americans. I do wonder, Mr. President.
But you said the word Obamacare. Obamacare
Correct.
was conceived by Barack Hussein Obama, who knew nothing about health care.
But we're in the situation we're in
now. The problem with Obamacare is that, well, it provided health care. We'll tell you that. Now, the affordability part is what got a bit out of hand. Like, yes, healthcare got more unaffordable with Obamacare. But hey, I'll tell you who actually did benefit from Obamacare. Shoot, the insurance companies, they did really well, seeing like 1,000% growth in their stock portfolio. Well, not stock portfolio, but in their stock. So, hey, it helps somebody out.
Now where those subsidies will expire. So I wonder, is letting those subsidies expire acceptable to you? And should Americans...
What I want on healthcare is very simple. Obamacare was set up for insurance companies to become rich, okay? That was why they, in my opinion, I think the Democrats did it for that reason. Do you know that insurance company stocks have gone up 16, 17, 1,800% over a short period of time? They've been paid trillions, not billions, trillions of dollars. And what I'm saying is very simple. I don't want to pay them anything. No money for the insurance company. Sorry, fellas. I know them all. No money for the insurance companies. I want to pay the money directly to the people and let the people
Well,
get their own
Congress
health care.
hasn't put that
But
on
you
the
know who's
floor
fighting me
yet.
in that? The
Who?
Democrats.
But in the meantime, I mean, 2 weeks, Mr. President, people will see those premiums go up. So will you tell Congress to extend those Obamacare subsidies while you
I
work
don't
out
know.
another
I'm going to have
deal?
to see. I'd like to get better health care. I'd like to have people buy their own health care.
Like I said, they don't figure out something out by at least the 20th. You're gonna have people shaking in their boots, Trump. So I would hope you guys either just extend it if you can't reform it. I mean, that's the only two ways it's gonna work out for you guys, or you're really gonna lose the midterms, really. But shout out to Jet. He says, funny how the numbers always come down at election time for Dems after they caused it in the first place, then act like they're the ones who fixed it. Bro, literally. It's so amazing. It's like, bro, what was it? I remember the bounce back that Biden had in jobs that Trump set up in his term, and they just gave it to Biden. I'm just like, okay, I let them have that. I was like, all right, cool. It is what it is. But it is kind of funny how, what was it? They created an immigration problem. They cry about how Trump is solving it. They created an unaffordability problem. Then they're trying to blame Trump for just being in office, and he's only been in office for like, what, 11 months? I mean, wow. I'm impressed. It's actually a clever strategy because it's working.
Get much better health care. And what I want to do, very simple, I want to give the money to the people, not to the insurance companies.
So right now people are buying their holiday presents. They're planning.
Look, don't be dramatic.
No.
Don't be dramatic.
They're planning their budgets for next year,
Here's what I
Mr.
want.
And shout out to my man Danny. He says, you have won the conservative $2 holler reward. F it, I'll take it. And shout out my man Casper. Appreciate you for pulling up, my dog.
I know. And what I want to do is help them.
So will
I
their
want to
premiums
give,
go up?
I'm giving them money. I want to give the money to the people to buy their own health care. That's a good thing, not a bad thing. The Democrats don't want to do that. They want the insurance companies to continue to make a fortune. The Democrats are owned by the insurance companies. They want the insurance companies to get this trillions of dollars. We spend trillions of dollars goes to the insurance companies. I want that money to go to the people and let the people go out and buy their own health care. It works like magic. But you know who doesn't want it? The Democrats, because they're corrupt people, because they're totally owned and bought by the insurance companies.
So at this point, most likely premiums will go up and you will find another plan?
Your premiums could go down if you did.
I mean, look, man, Dems, they better not ask for no more extra spending, because the way things are going down, all the fraudulency that's going down in Minnesota, I would hope that the Dems would sit on any type of proposal for spending for a while until we figure that out. But then again, though, and I always give the Dems their due diligence on this. I'll be real with you. We do actually need to get those Obamacare healthcare subsidies either extended or reformed. And if we're going to reform them, it does need to be something that's actually going to benefit the American people. And what I don't honestly hear Trump saying is like, dog, you do have to explain how giving the money to us is going to benefit us. Because not everybody's a medical professional is going to be able to explain that one out. As far as everybody's concerned, they just want it to be extended so the healthcare premium doesn't triple or double. But what they don't know is that it's still going to go up by at least 30%. So as far as making a healthcare affordable, Obamacare has failed on that note.
What I want to do, I want to give the money.
Sir.
Ready? I want to give the people better health insurance for less money. The people will get the money and they're going to buy the health insurance that they want.
I want to talk about one last really important issue.
You know that works really well, right? And you know the Democrats don't want to do it because they want the insurance companies to make all the money.
Immigration, sir, critical to your agenda. I want to ask about what the Pope has said, which is he has called your immigration actions inhumane. Do you take that seriously from the Pope?
I haven't seen that. I mean, maybe he has. I mean, he also didn't like the wall. You know, they didn't like the wall. The wall
Do you
turned
plan
out
to
be
meet or
great.
speak
I
with
built
him?
a wall that stopped people from.
And shout out to my man Sid. Obama inherited the Great Recession. Biden inherited the COVID pandemic catastrophe. It's always Dems coming in and fixing the damage Republicans created. Bro, so really? The COVID? So you tell me the COVID pandemic, the fact that a virus just descended upon the world is the Republicans' fault. Like, Sid, come on, bro. Come on. But yeah, it's always the Dems coming in and fixing the Republican created only to get blamed for it anyway. Bro, what? Bro, what? Come on, dog. You can't be serious in that accusation. Now, that was true in the Bush days. You're right. In the Bush days, actually, let's fuck it. Going all the way back to the Bill Clinton days, that was true. I'll give you that. But in modern day politics, it's actually the opposite. It's been flipped around now. Like, let's be quite honest. You can't sit there and say that one. I hear you. I agree with you on the Obama. But Biden inheriting COVID, let's be real. Biden did not have to do all that extra spending, actually. Everybody, like I said, Biden's advisors was warning him not to. People in Biden's camp said it was a bad idea. And it was, because it turned out to be inflationary. I mean, of course, increasing the money supply is inflationary. That's economics 101. So, no, I cannot agree with you on the pandemic, but I definitely do agree with you on Obama inheriting the Great Recession. He definitely fixed it. Like, I'll give you that one.
Flooding, and I didn't put up the wall. I built the wall. The wall. Nobody talks about that. You know, it's interesting. 2 years ago, a year ago, under Biden, this country was out of control. Millions of people pouring through, totally unchecked, totally unvetted. And now we have nobody coming in. We have them coming in.
Because I'm like, dog, come on now. Biden definitely created the affordability crisis and the inflation crisis, because he definitely did inherit low inflation. I'm sorry, but we cannot. I'm sorry, but you can't just sit here and say that, oh, well, the Republicans made all of this. No, back in the day, sure. But modern day politics, not at all. This is all on the Dems.
And only legally. They have to go through a legal process. Nobody ever talks about that anymore. They should talk about that. But I haven't heard any statements from the Pope. I'm sure he's a lovely man. His brother's a lovely man.
Yeah,
you know, his brother. You know, his brother is Sirius MAGA. Lives in Florida. He's
so will you meet with the other brother, with the Pope?
I already met with the brother.
But with the Pope, will you meet with him or speak with him?
Why not?
One more question on immigration. The Supreme Court.
I don't know why the Pope is speaking on our immigration system when the immigration system in Europe is absolutely atrocious. So I don't even know why he's speaking on us. But hey, man, we gotta let the Father be, I guess. Shout out to my man Charles. He sent $2. Ain't had too much to say. Just want to show some support, and I appreciate that, Charles. Shout out to my man Jet. He says, "Fix what? We did not need 2 more COVID checks. Literally. I was just like, dog, do you not understand how that made shit worse? Extending the SBA program made that shit worse. Like, bro, trust me. In the beginning, it was great." But it was inflationary spending that we paid for later on. Like, even with the SAVE Acts, it's like, yes, he put a lot of kids out of poverty, but those same kids fell right back into poverty once inflation hit.
Is going to hear a case that could redefine who is here legally in the United States. I'm talking about the birthright citizenship case. If the court sides with you and ends birthright citizenship, are you going to try to take away citizenship from people who already have it?
I honestly haven't thought of that, but I will tell you this. The case is very interesting because that case was meant for the babies of slaves. And if you look at the dates on the case, it was exactly having to do with the Civil War. That case was not meant for some rich person coming from another country, putting a foot in our country, and all of a sudden their whole family becomes, United States citizens. That case is all about slaves, the babies of slaves. And it was a good reason for doing it. And that's all it was about. And people now are understanding it. It's been explained to them. And I think the court understands it too. That would be a devastating decision if we lose that case.
That court,
because our country cannot afford to house tens of millions of people that came in through birthright citizenship. When that happened, that was meant for the babies of slaves. And if you look at the exact dates that it was passed, it all had to do with the Civil War and the ending of the Civil War.
And let's be real now, he's not really stating the real argument here, but the real argument is that are the kids of illegal immigrants, undocumented immigrants, if they have their kid here, is that an American citizen? That's the argument. Now, the Supreme Court already made a decision on what happens with legal immigrants' children. Now, yes, your parents are both legal immigrants, or at least one of your parents legal immigrant, you are an American citizen. we've never debated or we've never had the Supreme Court decide on the fate of illegal immigrants' children, if they are a American citizen or not. We've just kind of went along with the practice of, oh, we're just going to assume that that's what, the forefathers would want. Or we're just going to assume that that's what what was it? Birthright citizenship it proposes. Is that, as long as you're born on American soil, jurisdiction thereof. Now, the problem is the jurisdiction thereof part. Now, people want to argue that the jurisdiction of the parents would be the country that they're from. Therefore, the kid's a citizen of that country. Now, other people want to argue that, well, the jurisdiction is them being born inside the United States. So we'll see what the not Trump, but we'll see what the Supreme Court decides on.
It's that little period of time. And people now are starting to understand
Do you
it.
want to see one of the justices on the Supreme Court retire so you can put in one more before the end of your term?
Well, the Democrats want to flood the court.
Clarence Thomas is 77, Samuel Alito is 75. Do you want one more on there?
Well, I hope they stay because I think they're fantastic, okay? Both of those men are fantastic.
Before I let you go, I want to ask.
I will say this. The Democrats want to pack the court. They want to have 21 justices. That would be a terrible thing for this country.
The future of the Republican Party. Like, I watched you on all of your campaigns.
Sid, man, they said that stimulus was bipartisan. I mean, that's why Trump took the petty decision, which we would all agree was a bit petty, to sign it himself, because the Dems were trying to say, no, Trump didn't want you guys to get money. The Republicans didn't want you. It was us that gave you the stimmies. Now, you remember that argument? Because I do. I remember how petty that argument was. We was like, we don't care, bro. Just give us the check. I remember that argument, but shout out to Sid, though. He says the Pope is American, LOL. We got 2 stimulus checks from Trump and the first from Biden. Yes, but the Pope is in Europe right now. So we'll let him. Actually, the Pope is actually from Chicago. So most likely he is a liberal. So I can see him being against immigration. It makes sense. But I would say the Pope to focus on his what was it, papal duties or whatever they call it. Let him focus on that, man, leading people to God. Look, we lead people out of the country, you can lead them to God. We're on 2 different sides here.
Together, especially in this last one, an unprecedented coalition to win the presidency. You brought in so many new voters to the Republican Party. You chipped away at some of the core bases of the Democratic Party. Is there anyone else in the GOP that can energize the coalition the way you did?
I hope so. I don't know. You never know until they're tested. It's like you jump in the water, you can swim or you can't. Some people can swim and some people can't. You never know. You have to see. I think we have a very good bench. I must tell you, we have a lot of good people. We have a great cabinet. I have a really great cabinet. Better than my first cabinet. I had some very good people in my first cabinet, but this cabinet, I have much more experience. When I first came to Washington, it was interesting. I didn't know anything about any of the people. I was I was a very successful guy from New York City, real estate and other things. I mean, I had a great show and a lot of things, but basically real estate. And by the way, I'm fixing up the White House, making it beautiful. I'm doing a great ballroom that they've tried to do for 150 years and all of that stuff. But you never know. Your question's such an interesting question. You never really know until they get tested. I hope so.
Mr. President, thank you so much for joining the conversation. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
And all right, now let's get over to the left side of media and let's see what they got to say. CNN, because Marjorie Taylor Greene, I feel sorry for President Trump. You already know how this is about to be. Let's get right into it, guys.
Congresswoman Greene is joining us now live for her first CNN interview since announcing her plans to resign from the House of Representatives. Congresswoman, thanks very much for coming in. Lots going on. Yeah. This is Pamela Brown, not Pamela Greene. Just want to make that clear.
And she has a beautiful name.
She has a beautiful name.
Thank you. I'm proud of my last name. That's right.
And your name is Greene, not Brown.
That's right.
I want to be precise. In addition to what we just heard there, President Trump posted yesterday that you are, quote, and I'm quoting him now, not America first or MAGA, and your, quote, new views are those of a very dumb person. That's the president of the United States speaking about you. What's your response to these latest attacks?
Well, actually, Wolf, I feel very sorry for President Trump. I genuinely do. It has to be a hard place for someone that is constantly so hateful and puts so much vitriol, name calling, and really tells lies about people. in order to try to get his way or win some kind of fight. And I think that's exactly what's wrong in America today.
Oh, this is what we doing now. Oh man, she did completely switch sides. Oh man, look, Marjorie Taylor ain't you know what? I predict that she's not going to give up her congressional seat, and she's going to flip to either a centrist or a Democrat. And I'm not bad, either an independent or a Democrat, because she's coming out heavy now. At first, she was like, well, I just wanted to have Trump hear me out, even though I did it in all the wrong ways. Second is that, oh, well, you know, I was texting him and he wasn't really listening to me. Now it's, man, F this guy, man. He's petty. He lies about people. Wah, 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 wah. I like it. All right, let's see where this goes.
That's what's wrong in this toxic political environment that has ripped our country apart. And I personally think that that's poor leadership from a president. It's a very bad demeanor, and Americans are very tired of it. And unfortunately, I also am concerned because I don't think the president's team nor the speaker have told the president about the legislation that I've introduced, that actually much of it directly literally aligns with the agenda that he campaigned on. I campaigned on in 2024. Many of my bills are actually his executive orders in legislative form.
And shout out to my man Sid. He says Marjorie Taylor Greene is a perfect example of conservatives not caring about something unless it affects them specifically. Now, Trump hasn't changed. Now that it's turned on her, now that it turns on her, she doesn't like it. Actually, that's true. No, that's true. Because I remember when Nick Fuentes was going off on her, and it's true. Marjorie Taylor Greene did want to become senator. She had aspirations to become senator and then eventually governor. The Republicans told her ass, hell no. They actually start pushing her and ostracizing her because she said she had bad political stock. In my opinion, I think she's actually a good candidate. But in the conservative base, or with the high ups conservatives were saying that no, you're crazy. We're not. You're best as a congresswoman. You're not going to be senator. You're not going to be governor. Now here comes Marjorie Taylor Greene going hard on the Epstein list, and which I'm actually happy that she did, by the way, going hard on Trump about immigration, pretty much saying that he's not fulfilling any of his promises and that he needs to sit his ass home and focus on home policy. Now, I'll be real with you. Half of that I agree with, but the other half I think she's being nitpicking on, and she should have a bit more understanding since she's actually dealing with the same Democrats that this man is dealing with that undermines him as much as they try to undermine her. But Sid is right. She doesn't seem any benefit in the MAGA movement now. She's trying to jump to the American First movement. And that is like basically the civil war that's going on within the Republican movement of MAGA versus America First. We'll get into that later, though.
And if the speaker would pass my bills, if the President Trump were to sign them into law, guess what? His executive orders, which make him literally a temporary president.
And shout out to my man Jet, because he has been saying this for a minute. You were saying this. I've been saying it for a while. She's a two-face.
His executive orders, which are my bills, would become law. That would become permanent. And so I think it's very unfortunate.
Because when I hear him talk like that about you and insult you and attack you.
Now, I will admit, she actually had a good bill for the H-1B visas. I was actually agreeing with her on that bill for H-1B visas. Now, I haven't heard of anything else besides H-1B visa bill she proposed, but that's all I've heard. Anything else, I'm going to have to look up.
Like that. Mm-hmm. I worry about your security and your family's security. And you've been getting some increasing threats, right?
Yes, and that's what I take so seriously. I, as a Christian, I'm not angry at the president. It's easy for me to say a prayer for him and forgive him. But the part that I have had a very hard time with is the fact that he called me a traitor. And because of his words, that brought serious threats against myself and my family. We had a pipe bomb threat on my home, a pipe bomb threat on my family construction company and staff. And had multiple pizza doxings, but the serious one.
Here's the thing, though. Like, Marjorie Taylor Greene had like a mass off moment, and it was on, I think it was either TL Von or CNN, where she was talking about her construction company, right? And how she was low-key trying to go against Trump's immigration policy, saying, well, you know, I'm in construction and we have immigrants on our sites and, you know, we need them and all that. So I'm just like, whoa. You were the main one going hard about immigration. Now you're over here trying to protect the illegals on your construction site because they benefit you. I mean, hold on. First of all, should you be in jail for that?
was the direct death threats on my son. And I think that goes beyond anyone's arguments or disagreements or politics. All of our children and our families' safety should matter to anyone, no matter if they're mad at us or disagree with us. I think that should be something we respect.
And when you told President Trump about this, can you tell us a little bit more about what his reaction was to these threats?
Yeah, it was shocking to me. I sent those death threats directly to him in a text message and informed him of what his name calling and words were doing, the direct result. And it was a direct assassination threat on my son. And he was extremely, I won't repeat what he said, but it was extremely unkind. No sympathy, no care.
I'm just wondering.
All right, now, yeah, Marjorie, you might want to release those text messages, because I'm be real with you, even I would be upset with Trump if you're getting death threats, right? Because of his language, you're showing him that, maybe you need to tone down the rhetoric. This is what I'm receiving. He just looked at you and said, hey, man, you better deal with it then. I mean, like, that's fucked up. That's fucked up. I would not stand with that. But now you got to drop it, because I doubt Trump or anybody would own up to that. So please drop those text messages proving that Trump was just so heartless from the death threats that you were receiving. And you might actually have to show these death threats that your son was receiving as well. Hopefully you're not just trying to, blow up a political story here.
And I mean, obviously it would be good to hear what he said, but do you feel like you were duped? I mean, as you reflect on this moment and these attacks against you, you have been such a staunch supporter and ally of President Trump. Do you feel like you were duped by him?
I feel, maybe I don't know if I would use the word duped. I think it's unfortunate for the entire country. And I think the message is, and many people are saying it directly to me, if the president, because I stood with rape victims, women that were raped at 14 and 16, victims of Jeffrey Epstein.
Whoa. No. It wasn't about the rape victims. I'll be real with you. A lot of people have been talking and they're like, no, it's not about the rape victims, Marjorie Taylor Greene. It's about the fact that you kind of went on left mainstream media and fed into the whole, what was it? Oh, you don't like how immigration is being carried out. You're agreeing with them on how affordability is the president's, fault and all that good stuff. I know she actually did say that. So yeah, it's not just about the Epstein victims. And I'm gonna be real with you, let's not count that out as well, because I'm not gonna lie. There were Republicans and even Trump who was saying, oh, well, she was a thorn in the side over the Epstein list. But look what happened to the Epstein list at the end of the day, though. You guys were able to get an Epstein Transparency Act. So to still complain about Epstein while, getting that Epstein Transparency Act is a bit petty. Like, come on now. I don't think anybody should be talking about Epstein until we see what's been released through this Transparency Act.
And others, they claim that there are other men. Because I chose to stand with them. That's what caused the president that I fought so hard for to get elected. That's what caused him to call me a traitor. And I think what many people are saying to me is, if he would do this to you, he would do that to any of us. And that, I think, is a terrible.
And shout out to my man Sid. She talks about her voting record. Liz Cheney and Kinzinger had some of the most conservative voting records in Congress. Trump didn't care about that when they disagreed with his election lies. I would say this. Liz Cheney, I mean, bro, come on now. Liz Cheney is a complete war hawk. And I'm gonna be honest with you, like Liz Cheney only was mad at Trump because he wasn't, the most anti-Russia person. Though, but Kinzinger, I don't know too much about him. But I'll give you this one. I'll definitely say this. You're right. He didn't give a shit about her once she starts going against his election promises and pretty much trying to say that he's not delivering. I will say that. Like, you are right about that
message to be sent to the country, and many of the people that stood, hours in line for a MAGA rally that I went to, by the way, and went to many of those rallies. And
we do got to remember, some of these guys did not like Trump just because he wasn't like a, honestly, vociferous war hawk.
On behalf of him. I think that's a terrible message to send. I think our country has been in a state of crisis for many years.
No, this is true though. No, you're right. No, Sid's right though. She did vote with Trump like 98% of the time. And soon as soon as she starts talking out against the man, and it does seem like she tried to handle things backdoor. Hey, I don't know, things got out of hand. Here's the thing, though. I would wonder how Trump would see this. I would want to hear Trump's perspective on this. Like, all right, well, what led you to the whole Trader Green stuff? Because I get it. She went out on mainstream media. She was talking against you. I get that part. And I don't understand how Marjorie Taylor Greene didn't see how that would like get Trump to turn against him. Like, honestly, think about the common sense of that. You're going to go on mainstream media on the left on CNN and talk bad about him. It's pretty much saying that he's not fulfilling his promises, and then say that now you're saying, oh, well, now I'm texting him. I don't think that was the best way to communicate your grievances, but hey, that's just me.
Now, and what I personally want to see happen is all the vitriol and toxic politics to be put away, and us to actually, leaders to actually work for the American people.
How much do you think President Trump is responsible for the toxic politics? I know you've addressed your own role to my colleague Dana Bash, but what about Trump himself?
Oh, absolutely. He's a leader in it. And so were others on the other side. I mean, we can look, there was a weaponized Biden DOJ against the president and his family, and state AGs that went after his family. All of that is extremely toxic and dangerous in itself. I fully am totally against any type of weaponized justice system for political purposes. However, it's the language that just continues it. And it's extremely unhealthy. It sets a bad example, but that's what has been created on I call it the political industrial complex. It's the two parties that are pitted against each other. And the president, he's a leader of that on the Republican side.
It's hard to believe a president of the United States is calling a fellow Republican congresswoman a traitor. I mean, it's pretty awful.
Wolf, I'll add to that. I have a 98% voting record with President Trump. 98%.
98.
I don't see how that can be a traitor.
Can you tell us anything more about what he said, though?
Well, I'm gonna be real with you. Just because you voted 98% of the time with the man, don't mean that you still can't go out there and bash his name, just like you're doing right now. I mean, just like you see, this doesn't mean just because you voted 98% with the man doesn't mean that you won't go on CNN and talk about how you're upset about immigrants being taken off your construction sites. I mean, let's be real, Marjorie Taylor Greene, you did do some pretty traitorous things, like going on mainstream media, airing your grievances out about the president instead of just talking to the president. And here's the thing. She'd had a way better story. She'd had a way better pull if she'd have actually talked to the president, get the text chain, show that, look, I've been talking to this man for months about this. I haven't went on mainstream media. I wasn't talking bad about him. I've just been talking to him behind closed doors, and this is the result of it. This is why he's all of a sudden calling me a traitor. But I'm be real with you. When you go on CNN and all the leftist media to bash Trump, what do you expect? Like I said, I don't think she went about this the right way, even though I agree with some of her grievances.
And when you told him about the death threats, because I think that's telling.
I don't want to at this time directly repeat his words.
Oh no, they was talking for sure though. I mean, like I said, she said she has a text mail chain with the man. She showed this man, the violent threats and all that, and he pretty much ignored it, played cold. And I'm just like, all right then, well, I don't know why wouldn't you just texting this man in the beginning instead of going on mainstream media and getting on this man's bad side and thinking you could double back and then talk to him nice on text when you wasn't willing to do that in the first place.
But I can tell you, in nature, I literally was shocked that he was so unkind and accusatory. There were other things that shocked me, though. I sent those same death threats to his chief of staff, Susie Wiles, and his deputy chief of staff, James Blair. They didn't even reply to me. And I would have expected at least Susie Wiles, who's a woman, a mother, a grandmother, I would have expected her to have said.
Let me be real with you. Susie Wiles don't care. Susie Wiles is all about corporate interest. I mean, I wish Susie Wiles would resign or she magically get fired. I don't know, man. Wishing upon an effing star at this point. But yeah, Susie Wiles does not care at all. Only about corporate interests.
this is unacceptable. We'll send it to Kash Patel, or something of that nature. We'll make sure your family's safe. I would have expected those responses, not for them to take sides in any way. I understand they work
JD Vance did respond, though, right?
JD Vance, I give a lot of credit to. He was very kind and caring about that. And I did send to Kash Patel, and he said on it.
Okay.
It's interesting. Your Republican colleague, Congress.
Okay. So JD Vance was willing to hear her out, and Kash Patel was like, "All right, we got you." All right, that's what I like to hear.
Congresswoman Nancy Mace says in a new opinion piece that Speaker Mike Johnson, and I'm quoting her now, is better than his predecessor. The frustrations of being a rank and file House member are compounded as certain individuals or groups remain marginalized.
I ain't gonna lie, Sid, you funny for that one. She's probably waiting to release all the texts in a book or something. I'm like, yeah, you're right. There's always a book. Should I read it?
Marginalized within the party, getting little say. Women will never be taken seriously until leadership decides to take us seriously. Speaker Johnson recently said he's the, quote, biggest champion of women GOP lawmakers. Do you predict that some sort of women's revolt in the Republican House conference could take place?
I read her op-ed and I thought it was masterfully written, and she's right. And this is something that I've been speaking out against for quite some time now. It is extremely frustrating as a rank and file Republican member in our majority, our Republican majority, that many of us women are not taken seriously, and our legislation is not taken seriously. I'll give you an example right now.
What? In a New York Times op-ed arguing they are marginalizing women. Do you see where this is kind of traitorous at a certain point? Bro, the man has women all through his effing administration. Now y'all saying because you guys didn't get the positions that you guys want, because you guys are stuck with the representative and not the senator, you guys are upset going like, well, because I'm not doing well, they hate women. This guy got women all through his administration. What are you talking about? Kids, they're marginalizing women. They're not giving us a chance. Really? Okay. I'm sorry, lady, but we're not going to be like the Dems and have I'm going to be real with you, the Republican Party ran by a bunch of women. No, we're not doing that. We're not going to be like the left. I mean, if you want that, Marjorie Taylor Greene, you should have stopped over there because, hey, women run the left, but we got male dominance on this side, and I like it to stay that way. I'm sorry. That sounds sexist. Well, it is what it is.
Now, Mike Johnson promised me that one of our it's in my bill. It's called Protect Children's Innocence Act. It's a key piece of legislation that is one of President Trump's top campaign promises, and that's to protect any child under the age of 18 from gender-affirming care. Our position is let these kids grow up. They need to grow up before they do anything.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, gender-affirming care should be something that's 18 plus, not something that you can get into at 9 years old. Like, come on now.
Permanent changes to their body. Mike Johnson, that bill has passed through the Judiciary Committee. It is ready to go for a House floor vote. Johnson promised me a vote on it after the shutdown, and it has yet come to the floor.
Why do you think then Johnson says he is the biggest champion of women? And do you think that there could be more defections, particularly a revolt, as Wolf said, among women in the GOP?
Well, you're seeing it. I don't know how he can speak out of one side of his mouth, but his actions fully show the hypocrisy. Anna Paulina Luna, she has a discharge petition now on a bill that she fully believes in to change the way members of Congress are allowed to own stocks. And she has that in a discharge petition.
Agreed.
Can't get the support from the speaker to bring it to the floor for a vote. But you've seen Elise Stefanik. She went to war with the speaker just last week over an amendment she had that was extremely important. So you're seeing Republican women lash out directly at the speaker because he sidelines us and doesn't take us seriously.
What's next for you?
I mean, well, then, all right, then why don't you just bring the argument to a man and let the man hop down the speaker's ass? Like, if you really wanted things done and you think the speaker's being racist, then give it to a man. Otherwise, I mean, you're just riding on this feminist like bullshit at this point. Like, look, if you're telling me that Speaker Johnson is a sexist, which it could be true, then all right, cool. Give it to a man. Give it to a man that you trust, that's close to Speaker Johnson, and get your voice heard, regardless of the sexism, if it really means that much to you. Or is it just about you and you being on the front page of it? Like, think about that.
What are you planning on doing now that you're leaving Congress?
A lot of happiness.
You were a big fundraiser in the GOP. I mean,
Yes. As a matter of fact, I paid my dues to the NRCC. Every single Congress raised hundreds of thousands of dollars more and paid in, supported many Republican candidates and raised money for them, but didn't get treated very well, unfortunately, not only by our Republican majority, but also, unfortunately, by the president, which I supported. I'm looking forward to seeing my family and friends a lot more.
You're going to have some happiness indeed.
you came and
Yes.
sat here and you said, I'm a lot happier now. Well, thank you for
Congresswoman,
your
thanks so
time.
much for coming in.
Thank you.
Wild. But I guess I seen it coming. All right, guys, let's get over to some crazy shit now. Now, look, I'll play this, but guys, in all seriousness, take this with a grain of salt. Actually, don't even take it with a grain of salt, because this guy Milo knows his shit. I'm gonna play this little clip right here, and we're gonna get into the possibility that Charlie Kirk and Benny Johnson might have been gay, which I highly doubt, but let's hear it. Let's hear it though.
Selfish.
But because it's not just about me. It's about the hundreds of influencers that they threw off the boat.
At
And
what
when they did
expense?
that,
At
when
what
they-
cost?
when-
Oh, shoot. And shout out to my man Jed. He said, been salty since she didn't get a cabinet position. I'm crying. Yeah, she probably got looked over. It's like, bro, that's the thing is, like, bro, Marjorie Taylor Greene has always been trying to get a leg up in politics, and she's been stuck at it as a congresswoman, and she don't like that. Actually, she's not even on any of the committees. She got kicked out of most of her committees, and she's been trying to get back in ever since. Trump hasn't given it to her. No Republican has given it to her. So she might be acting out of bitterness. Maybe. Because like I said, some of the bills that she brought up, I actually agree with. But if she really wanted them heard, and Speaker Johnson was being a complete sexist and knocking down any woman that proposed it, then send it to a man. And let's see if he can get it done. And then you can go out and call Speaker Johnson for being a sexist. Why not? I'll be for that.
At what expense? At what cost?
I'm telling you.
To get President Trump elected.
I'm about to tell you. For short-term electoral gain, the IQ level, the IQ level of the debate on the right-wing side in this country has dropped 20 points in 15 years.
Oh, wow. And I agree with you currently. Yes,
it is
thanks to
so dumb.
When it became
And
about
it is
winning.
not thanks to Candace. It precedes Candace by a decade.
I agree with that, but
Charlie
right
did
now-
it. Charlie did it. He got me out. And whatever you think about me, I talk at a certain level because I'm really fucking smart. And he got everybody like me out too. Everybody. And
who else did he get out?
Who did he?
Who
Everybody.
So,
Literally
hold on.
everyone you
Okay.
like on the internet was banned by Turning Point at some point.
Okay, no, hold on. Time out. You're saying you're I do believe
All
you
of
are
us.
very intelligent. Don't get I'm not knocking you because I do find you to be one of the most intelligent people out there. But at the same time, you're saying so I take that as a slide, and I'm gonna stand here because I find Jack to be brilliant. And I find him brilliant. I find him to be brilliant.
But Jack has taken a very
Jack is very tight. And then
Well, Jack
Ashley
does-
St.
Jack
Clair's
does-
another one. You
Jack
mentioned her
does-
earlier. I find her to be brilliant with her ups and downs or whatever you want to bring out there. She's also brilliant too.
Yeah, but she was never really in the political activist.
Yeah, she was. I've known Ashley for years.
The two smart people.
She produced my political
The
ads.
two smart people who are Turning Point adjacent and not Turning Point people, him and Prosobic, both have something in common.
What?
They have proceeded in their careers extremely delicately so as to build a tent rather than to pick a side over and over and over again. Jack does it. Jack does it behind closed doors and is a very effective operator, networker, and a journalist as a result of it.
What about Alex?
And he does it. I just wish Alex would tell the truth about his sexuality.
Oh, wow.
But you, no, there's something about
you gotta stop saying that.
bad. Well, we haven't got
like not like everybody
got-
is not gay just because
in
you want them
conservative
to
media.
be.
Yes, they are.
No, stop.
Yes, they are.
Strangely, a lot of them are. Though.
No, they are.
but the ones who are out
Look who's
about it.
talking.
I'm
Look who's
gay. I've
talking.
never said
Look
I'm
who's
not
talking.
gay.
Who's talking? Listen, one of the most distinctive characteristics.
I have a gift for you. Here.
I'm not.
You need this back. You need this. You need this back.
And I'm giving you this.
You need this back
Don't be
here.
gay.
No, I'm not.
Take it.
I'm not
Look, Milo needs
Yeah, I like Milo skateboard better.
this back because it's his reality. He just
you
Milo,
know-
I love you.
I love you.
I want to get back to what you were saying.
I love you, but we're gonna fall out if you carry on like that.
You're still a queen. I don't care how
I wanna
much
hear what
you say
Milo
you're
was saying.
straight.
There is one of the most distinctive things about the right wing in this country is its homosexual overtones. Benny Johnson posts pictures of his children every 2 days. It's weird. And everybody knows what went on with Benny Johnson in those lobbies and in those hotel rooms at SAS. Everybody knows.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Men.
Younger men, not underage.
Huh?
At least I don't know that. His
Okay,
wife,
wait.
his wife was crying drunk in the lobby 3 sasses in a row about how her husband was upstairs with boys.
Huh?
Go Oscar.
Bro, every time I hear this, bro, it just like, wait, what? Like, bro, what? Like, and the thing is, Milo, he be knowing his shit. So when he talks, a lot of people listen. And the fact that this man's conceding, and I think Benny Johnson is actually suing him, right? Actually, but the fact that this man sat here and said, bro, you had your wife crying downstairs while you was having sex with 18-year-old boys, like, whoa. Like, hopefully you don't got proof on that. Because that'd be crazy.
Wait, his wife was crying drunk in the lobby 3 sasses in a row about how her husband was upstairs with boys.
Come on.
Like, go Oscar.
Come on.
Go ask her.
Come on, Milo.
Go ask her.
Milo, aren't you ever scared of getting sued? You say something crazy. I'm sitting here like I am humbled by the lore and your ability.
The audacity,
to just I mean, like, there's no teapots in this room right now to express how I feel.
George, I have said these things about people for 20 years and never once in my career been sued. I've issued 3 corrections in my entire journalistic career because I get my facts right and people know that they do not want to go through discovery.
Actually, I want to say this.
I've never been sued for anything I've ever said about anyone.
The one thing I need to say this. I need to say
because I'm right.
The most terrifying thing about Milo is that he knows all your secrets.
I know he knows everybody's lore. Trust me. I am terrified of Milo. I will never cross Milo. Milo is the one person that people say, like, why are you friends with him? Bitch knows too much.
I can't afford not to be. You want to be his enemy?
He knows too much.
Nobody wants to be his enemy.
Do not cross this dude. It's not worth it.
I was gonna say, Benny told you what? Did he get the dick out of his mouth long enough?
Oh my God, Milo, you can't say these.
Yes,
things.
I can because it's real and it's true.
Milo, stop.
You can't say it because you want to maintain your friendships.
It's real and it's true. It's just like, dog, bro, you're standing on too much right now. Like, how much are you willing to bet? If I was there, I'd be like, Milo, bro, I got 5,000 for you right now, bro. Right now. Prove to me that Benny Johnson is gay. Because what are you telling us right now? Like, bro, just saying it on the biggest podcast is in the conservative spaces, really in the world. And this man just saying, hey, yeah, I ain't gonna lie, bro. That man, Benny Johnson, hey, look, bro, he be banging guys while his wife's in the lobby crying, like, drinking wine. What?
Told you what? Did he get the dick out of his mouth long enough?
Oh my God, Milo, you can't say these.
Yes,
things.
I can because it's real and it's true.
Milo, stop.
You can't say it because you want to maintain your friendships. I can say it because I care
like you've never met Milo. I'm trying
to help him.
You're not helping. I think you'll be fine.
Guys.
You can't even help you. You just came out of jail. I don't need tips from you about life.
Let's turn the volume from 11 to at least 10.
Yes.
But I want to say this.
I will just
when we were talking about how there's people that come to me and they say, Tim, we'll be the guardrails for you and you'll be the biggest.
Faggotized.
They're what they're really saying is, Tim, when you catch someone at a convention doing blow,
don't say the drugs,
anything.
Don't say the gay sex, don't say the bad stuff, because we've made an investment in that. That's an asset of ours.
Agreed.
And we want to protect it.
Yep.
Benny Johnson.
Well, I'm not saying anything about
Put
Benny.
your queen.
I'm just saying.
Back on, queen.
It's a king crown, actually. A queen crown has a completely different shape. If you look at a queen crown, it has more of a gentle slope that goes over and overlaps. This is a king crown, and I'll take it.
Okay.
And I will say the word on an airplane, but not here.
I think if everybody just literally said the truth,
and the fact they don't is the reason we have Candace Owens. And what I hear from you is I hear
and I mean, let's be real. If anybody didn't hear that complete rant on Candace Owens that Tim Pool had, which I believe was a bit unjust, because he's pretty much trying to say that Candace was going to be the reason we lose the midterms and wham. Let's get into it a little bit. Actually, let's go ahead and get into it a little bit. Let's get into it because this man went off.
Candace Owens is a fucking evil scumbag. She is a degenerate cunt.
Damn.
She is burning everything down, and she's gloating and smiling while she does it. And you know what you fucking told me? She has no security. She doesn't fucking deal with the shit we have to deal with. She's a piece of shit.
And remember, Tim Pool's going off because his house recently got shot at while his family was in there and all that. So my man is a bit heated right now. I think even Candace Owens came out and said, look, bro, I know you're going through a lot, so I ain't going to comment on too much of what you're going through, but, get well.
She's making everyone else suffer. And all of these fucking conservatives out there that send me these fucking messages have no fucking balls to call her out. More and more people have started doing it. They send me these fucking messages. Good for you, Tim. Good for you, Tim. I wasn't the first person to do it. I'm not going to take credit for that. But don't fucking DM me like I did something for you as you fucking cower, scared that she'll put you on her thumbnail and claim you benefited.
That is true, though. There's a lot of conservatives who don't agree with what Candace is doing, but they won't say anything. Well, because she big Candace. You feel me? You guys put some respect on her name. To be quite honest, not only is she big Candace, but if you're going to speak about Candace, you better come with receipts, because Candace, she comes with receipts. Even if she slow rolls the receipts, just, like how she did with the Charlie Kirk's text and how everybody just came out saying she's a liar and all this. Then she comes out the receipt and everybody's hush mode, but they still criticizing her though. It's like, you got to be real. If you're going to come at Candace Owens, you better come correct and with receipts.
Charlie Kirk's assassination, which he's doing to me right fucking now.
Yeah, that was
I'm fucking done with these people.
She has security, just not on the level of you.
Oh, yeah, the one fat guy you mentioned with no wall and no barrier in a suburban neighborhood with neighbors. She doesn't give two fucking shits. No one's out for her. She's lying about all of this. You told...
I mean, whoa. Now, Tim, let's be reasonable here. Who's to say that her at-home security? Because most likely I see Candace kind of living in more like a gated community or a community that's highly protected. So she probably don't need as much security at home as she needs going out to places. So if you count Candace going out, I'm pretty sure you're going to see her with about 3-4 dudes about my size or bigger around her. So I don't know, dog. I don't know. Just because you're saying that, oh, well, she has low security at her house. Well, what makes you think she don't have high security outside?
Me. You went to her house and she's got a 4-foot wall and one fat guy. And she doesn't give a shit about her security.
4-foot wall.
Meanwhile, I get bullets fired at my fucking property and I have to go live in the middle of nowhere. And I got fucking strangers coming up to my house in Maryland, breaking in. I got people showing up and beating up the residents who try to live there. How the fuck am I even supposed to sell this property? And
bro, let's be real though. The only reason why it got shot at is because you there. So trust me, you'll be quite fine. If you move, all the danger moves with it, and the danger will follow you to a different location. So you can't really blame the danger on the property. Yeah, that's all you, buddy. But I mean, like I said, I feel for the man. And I really, I'll be real with you. I'd be completely upset too, because my house got shot at. This girl's over here talking about, oh, my life's in danger. I actually got shot at, and I don't even have the security like that. But this girl over here saying that her life's in danger, Macron's are trying to assassinate her, and she's behind a 4-foot wall with one huge guy's security. I mean, I can see why he's upset about that, but I do believe he's being a bit unreasonable in his accusations right now.
All lies, it's all hypocrisy, and it is for the purpose of making money. And she does not live the way other people live. And she claims she liked Charlie, she loved Charlie, and she is burning everything down that he built because she is evil. She is evil. And I'll say it again, this conservative movement is fractured.
Nah, shout out Cigs. Like, remember when Benny Johnson was complaining about getting AIDS for gay cruises, and it turned out they were targeted? Wait, hold on. My bad. All right, remember when Benny Johnson was complaining about getting ads for gay cruises, and it turned out they were targeted ads, and his wife didn't let him travel alone? I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say, Sid. You caught me on that one. That one I have no response for. I'm going to have to do my research on that. But you actually do your research when you look into this stuff. This is why I give you some credit. But what? Nothing targeted by the gay ads. That's how you know it's real. That's how you know it's real, bro. When you see the gay ads just pop up for Grindr and the gay cruise or for whatever male hookup dating site, you're just like, oh, no, not Benny. Benny, no.
It's fried, whatever it is. Okay. Republicans are on track to lose the midterms. They were actually trending in the other direction until Charlie Kirk was murdered.
Yeah.
And this is the point, isn't it? The most effective political assassination in history. And thanks to the likes of the vile cunt Candace Owens, she has turned Turning Point into the perpetrators of the crime that was against them. I don't get paid by any of these people. I'm not on good terms necessarily with Turning Point USA. They didn't invite me to their stupid event. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. They invited me back after I started criticizing Candace. I'm not going to your event. I'm over all of this shit. The last thing that I need to deal with is a bunch of cowards in conservative media refusing to stand up to her. Megyn Kelly, come on. I appreciate the kind words, but come on.
Come on, dog.
Such fucking pathetic bullshit. You know,
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like Tim, though, that's a problem with everybody who judges like Nick Fuentes, from Nick Fuentes to Tim Pool. Y'all did not look into what Candace is putting out. When you doubted her about the Brigitte Macron thing, you ain't look at the story. When you doubted her about the Charlie Kirk text messages, you didn't see what type of facts she was coming with. Everybody who's judging Candace Owens hasn't even watched the show, which is crazy, by the way. I mean, if you're going to judge somebody about what she's putting out, you would think you'd want to watch what she's putting out. You would think about that. Like, I'm just be fair about it. But it is what it is. But all right. No, I'm going to have to look that up. He said he posted about it. But City, I ain't gonna lie, you gotta blow my mind with this right now. Because we gonna get back to the original video though, too.
And I get people saying, Tim, thank you so much for talking about. I don't care. I'm not doing a favor for anybody. I'm not doing this to benefit anybody. Nobody's paying me. There's no fucking Russia. There's no fucking Israel. There's just me sticking my neck out and then risking dying for what? A bunch of cowards that don't want to stand up to protect themselves? People like fucking Candace Owens.
I couldn't believe that she put you in the thumbnail.
What a fucking cunt.
Of her piece today.
I'm done.
The idea that she'd imply that you had.
Yeah, she just reacted to your complete meltdown about her. What do you think that was gonna happen, bro? What do you think was gonna happen? That you wasn't gonna address your complete meltdown about her? Like, let's be honest here. It's a bit like ridiculous to think that she wasn't.
Believe that. I mean, does she have the fake New York Times meticulously dishonest habit of elaborate corrections that don't actually explain why the story was a lie in the first place? No, she doesn't do all that nonsense. And sometimes it would be nice if she said, "I'm not sure if that panned out or not." Maybe it would, but she knows what she's doing, and I don't. I'm gonna let her cook because. It sounds to me like you have all the same grievances as us. You have all the same priorities as us. You have all of the same, I don't want to say enemies, but like a lot of the same kind of like antagonists in your head as us. You agree on who the bad guys are. Turning Point has treated you as bad as it's treated everybody else. But there's something about Candace you just can't stomach. And I don't believe it's her. Well, I don't know what it is.
Let me, you know my.
I think people just be hating on Big Candace. I don't know why I'm calling her Big Candace, because she did hold the top podcast in the world for like a week or so. She's doing like 1 million, 2 million a view per podcast. Like, you gotta put some respect on her name, but she's doing Joe Rogan numbers. She's doing better than Joe Rogan, actually. So please put some respect on Big Candace's name. As much as y'all hate her, she's doing the numbers, so she deserves the Big Candace. But yeah, a lot of people are honestly hopping on Candace Owens' ass because they believe that she's lying and all this good stuff with no proof that she is. And most of them haven't even listened to the podcast. So here we are with all the Candace hate in the world.
Origin story, Milo.
I don't know what it is.
When I worked for these nonprofits, I got a job doing fundraising when I was in my early 20s, working for Greenpeace, the PERG groups, ACLU, etc. And I ended up moving to California, and I worked for a group called Environment California. It is, you're on the street, you're waving, you're saying, "Hey, come talk to me about the environment. We're going to sign you up." And what had happened was I was a nation's best fundraiser for Greenpeace, the PERG groups, a bunch of these nonprofits.
Believe it.
And so my job was, I'm going to go out and I'm going to say words to you that convince you to give me your credit card in exchange for nothing. And so,
so you believe that you see the same strategies, the same tactics, the same
identical, 100%. Okay. It's a lie. So here's why I quit. Because one day I was on a street corner when the Deepwater Horizon accident happened. They printed out these papers and said, "This is your pitch."
You know what's even scarier about bro just saying that about Benny Johnson? There was really no pushback for bro. No pushback whatsoever. As if everybody just raised their hand up and just said, "You know what? I always knew he was kind of sus. I ain't gonna lie, bro." Like what? But to play into that a little bit, shout out to my man Sid. He said, okay, a while back, Benny Johnson posted a gotcha video about an Atlantis Gate cruise ad that appeared next to a military recruitment banner. He framed it like it showed how woke or degenerate the platform site was. All right, and this was Instagram. Now, people immediately pointed out that those kinds of ads are targeted based on the user's browsing behavior and interest, not random placement. That's why the movement went viral. Everyone joked that he basically outed his own search/ad history by accident. Since then, left-leaning accounts and podcasters keep resurfacing the clip as Benny Johnson gay ads or MAGA influencer caught by his own targeted ads, using it to call him a hypocrite on LGBT issues. Well, I'm surprised they left out the Q.
Is to sign people up.
Do you?
And so let me finish. Sorry.
Sorry.
So I said, awesome, let's go do it. And here I am thinking, I'm actually convincing people to do right. And I went on the street, 23-year-old me, and I signed some people up, and I was at Nation's Best. You know, my buddy Mark, who works here, also, he was better than me. And so I'm in California, and one guy goes,
What was he? Nation's best?
I was number 5, he was number 3.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty crazy. And so
there's a lot of those guys out on the street. You know.
To be fair, it fluctuates. Like 1 week you're.
I was just teasing.
But so this guy comes up to me, and I said, "Hey, come over here. Let's talk about the environment." Blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
I gave him the pitch, and he goes, "You're full of shit." And then I was like, "I'm sorry." And he goes, "That's not how much oil is being spilled. Substantially less than that." And then I was like, "This is the reporting that they give us."
Did you believe that you were being told things that were directionally correct for a greater moral higher purpose?
So here's what happened. He said, "You're trying to lie to me. That's fraud. Screw off." And I said, "Okay, sorry." Immediately took my old candy bar Nokia, because I'm 23, and I called the office and said,
"Good phones."
I said, "Hey, we got a problem. Some guy just told me that our pitch is wrong, and that this is not correct."
Were they heartbroken and devastated and quick to rush out corrections?
Oh, quite the inverse, which is what you can expect. They said, "Don't worry, Tim. Just keep using it. It's fine." And I said, "Are you telling me to lie to people to convince them to give me money?" And they said, "No, of course not. Of course not." And so that was the end of me working in nonprofits. Well, so actually, to be fair,
I do like you. My question is, I believe all of that 100%. Do you discount the possibility that those same tactics could be used for good?
I do not believe
deliberate lying, but I mean,
I do not believe the ends justify the means, because we never meet the ends. If you decide to create
that a little bit.
Yes, if you think I'm going to make a better world by deceiving the people, you're only creating a world of deceit. That's evil.
No, it's fair.
And so when I look at these scumbags in the corporate press and the uniparty, and all they do is lie to people to trick them into doing, it's tricking them into giving up their labor to them, the value they produce.
The proper source of value in the economy, yes. Every single one of them vastly more dishonest than anything George has ever done.
And so someone comes to me and says, "We're going to topple those evil people." How? We're going to be them. I say, not interested.
No.
Well, let me ask you this, and you bring a valid point. Hold on, seriously.
We found out later those evil people.
And shout out to my man Paint. He says, "Bro, I get targeted ads that think I'm a convicted felon who may have been sexually abused in a California women's prison, and I am a man in Pennsylvania." Well, Jesus. Hey, man, I guess those targeted ads ain't accurate. I guess there might be an accuracy rate on those because that is a hella off for your demographic.
People weren't doing it.
But shout out to my man Payne, man. Appreciate the support. He's pretty much giving you some pushback on that one, Sid.
But they were. Well, they're all doing it. And Candace is doing the same thing.
But I think that's exactly. So she's a symptom of the same problem that you experienced when you were 23. I don't know how many years ago that is. I don't know how old you are.
39.
So there you go. So
that's where that story was going. He was trying to say that, oh, well, she's knowingly deceitful and she's leading her people down this rabbit hole that leads to nowhere. Well, we're going to see.
When we look at it 16 years ago, people were implying the same exact tactics.
Let me
tell you a little bit more.
I'm not granting you that. What I'm asking is not the deliberate lying, because I don't believe she does that. But I think that
intentional. It's not deliberate. It's intentional.
Okay, so you have a bit of a difference on that. I would be.
I think she's more intentional.
I'm not persuadable to your position. I am persuadable to yours. Unless I witness her lying, I find it very difficult to believe.
Let me put it like this.
But when you describe like the
Wow, I actually just got him to concede he's persuadable to my reply. I'm actually.
You need a hug.
Okay.
Do you need a hug?
Let me
come down eventually.
Let me.
What I'm saying is, like, it sounds like it's a more complex system of persuasion, deception, manipulation that you're describing. Not just tell people lies to get money. It sounds like you're seeing, you're getting spooked by an intricate.
And shout out to my man Robert Willie. He says, I watch Candace. It's the execution, releasing shows, making accusations that involve weekly is giving neocons / Israel shills ammo over the broader debate, which is true. Yeah, my bad. Accusations that involve weekly is giving the neocons and Israel shills ammo over the broader debate, which is true. And I will tell you this, like I said, like when she was slow rolling the Charlie Kirk text messages, yeah, everybody was saying she's a liar, even TPUSA. Then when she came out with the facts, everybody just hushed up, like, all right, never mind, we're good. And now they're running the same playbook, even though Candace let him into that trap. Even like with the whole like Egyptian, what was it? With the Egyptian planes, Egyptian aircraft, or some type of foreign intelligence being involved. Even she's slow rolling that. They're trying to say, oh, she's lying, this, that, and the third. She says, oh, well, the French government's put out a hit against me for her coverage on Brigitte Macron. They're saying, oh, she's a liar and all this good stuff. But I would want to play that safe if I was these podcasters. I'm not gonna see her call Candace Owens a liar, because how many times, this is like her whole thing. She slow rolls it. As the story evolves, as people come out and expose themselves, then she released the receipts. So before everybody want to hop on this bandwagon thinking that she don't got evidence that she's being hunted down or being or she has an assassination plot against her, let's wait till she releases it, because this is how Candace always plays.
Pattern that you've seen that gets people to a particular place that requires dishonesty or lies or whatever on the way.
And let's be real, yes, the Israel shields, like the guys on PBD, yeah, I mean, those guys are definitely on Candace's ass. Like that man, Adam Sosnick, bro. It don't even make no sense how much he dislikes this girl.
And you see the same thing with Candace. Is that accurate?
Say that again.
So it's more complicated than just we're going to lie to people to get their credit cards. It seems to me that you're saying there's a schema, there are psychological tricks, there's like a whole system that I saw there that I believe Candace is using too.
Not that I believe. She's using basic techniques like assumptive reasoning. It's in the book. It's 101.
Is it impossible to use those tactics for good? You say yes, because the use of them is self-disqualifying because of the kind of world it creates.
Yes.
That is the Catholic position.
If
you're right about that, and I'm not granting you that because I don't believe it, but if you are right about the dishonest elements of that, then you're right.
So let me hold on. I want to explain something, right?
I think
so. I'll give you some examples.
No, well, not lies, but like lies by omission. I think lies by omission are perfectly permissible. Sometimes lies by omission are permissible, which you can't do.
Man, know what? Guess, dude, I'm hearing you out on that one. He said a devil advocate. Like Candace looking a little manic, and I'll give you that. But it's almost like Alex Jones in a way. Once you know so much what's going on, once you kind of look past all the spin of the news, you start getting all this intel that you can't really talk about and all that good stuff. I mean, it kind of seems like once you live that type of lifestyle, it makes you a little bit manic. I mean, look at our guy, Alex Jones. Like, to be quite honest with you, look at Milo. Look at this man, Milo, and all the secrets this man keep. He just sat here and dropped that Benny Jensen might be a closeted gay on Tim Pool of all places.
Is knowingly say something that you know is not true.
I think that, or hold on.
The evil,
AKA too much information, man. Too much truth make you manic. Huh. Hopefully I don't go that far.
Authorities come to take your stuff and you say it's not there. That's
point is this: that if you are lying by omission with the intent to make someone draw the false conclusion.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying for good reasons.
No.
Lying by omission for a correct conclusion.
I'm lying by omission for correct conclusion.
Yeah. So so if you have failed in all of your attempts to persuade somebody they should not cut their child's penis off, right? And it gets to the stage where you think you might be able to persuade them to hold it at least, if you give them a correct but incomplete picture of the facts. Is that wrong?
Yes.
Okay.
And so
that's we differ on that,
because there's other techniques in persuasion,
and I don't think that's what Candace is doing. But
and rapport being one of them. Is you meet your enemies as allies.
But I said you've extinguished all other options. I said that at the beginning.
I think the problem is you're talking about. So I'll put it like this: it is wrong that people are giving their kids sex changes, and it is wrong in positions of authority to manipulate people to your whims.
Is it? Oh, yeah, sure.
So
is it always wrong to achieve a goal by any means necessary? Maybe it is.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, well then now you seem to be saying the opposite, because
no, it's not the opposite.
Well, what is Candace Owens' goal? Because that's a
her goal is to find out the truth about how and why Charlie Kirk was killed, and I don't believe we know that.
Yeah, I may be real with you, and if you believe the main narrative, I'm gonna be real with you. I'm sorry, but I think you're being a bit lazy. I think you're being intellectually lazy if you believe the main narrative. You can call me crazy if you want, but that's how I feel about it, because it just don't make sense. 30-06, no matter what bullet you put in it, is going to decapitate a human if it shoots it in the neck. Like, so I'm so confused. Like, everything about this shooting just seems so off. But everybody's just running with the mainstream narratives if this is a magic bull. Oh, he had a magic bone. He drank so much milk and ate so much vegetables that his bone could stop a 30-06 bullet. Like, bro, give me a break.
Go about it this way because I feel like she's.
How do you know that?
Because I
you
feel like
can't know what's in her mind. You don't know that. And let me tell you,
you're speaking as if you do.
I will happily.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are. You've said that many times.
Hold on. Milo, you know more about Charlie than she does.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
You think she knows more than you?
That's
bro. Are you serious? Bro, they were like best friends. They were tour buddies. They were around each other before both of them got big. So to sit there, and that's what I'm saying, it's so like retarded. It's literally retarded to even sit there and doubt their friendship. Even Charlie Kirk is winning to death about him and Candace's friendship, how they were there for each other since the beginning of their careers, before they blew up. And he had the Charlie Kirk show and Candace had the Candace Owens show before they blew up. So to sit there and try to bring any type of doubt on their friendship is retarded.
Do you understand? Don't you remember how close they were? They used to go everywhere together for years.
Literally touring together.
I met Charlie 3 times.
I'm talking about right now with the murder. I'm saying in this.
I met Charlie 3 times.
Dog, I'm be real with you. I don't know, Temple. I don't know if you got any real friends, but once you kind of been through it like that with somebody, y'all kind of stay cool. Even if y'all life makes y'all grow apart. Remember, bro became a husband with kids. Candace became a wife with kids. Their life went in 2 different directions, but they still cool. I mean, like, I'm not sure if you have any real friends, bro, but that's kind of how it is.
Hold on. I'm not talking about.
He drifted from
his
her
whole life
under pressure from.
No. Stop.
Before he died, he was sick.
I am not talking about his life. I'm saying in the context of his murder, you know more than Candace does.
Ridiculous.
You think she knows more than you?
Of course.
She thought UTC meant Utah time.
All right. That is funny. It's funny,
not, but it
is funny. I'm not gonna lie, it is funny, and it does appear to be the case that maybe she had like a brain. Have you never had a brain fart in your life? I mean, come on.
No, I think she just didn't know what UTC was.
She also made the claim.
I don't know what mountain time is. I don't know. I'm not even exactly.
And she corrected her. So see, now y'all just nitpicking. Now you guys are nitpicking. Well, she got the time zone wrong. Yeah, and she corrected herself, and the story still made sense. Once she corrected herself. So it's just like, well, now y'all just nitpicking it if she hasn't went back and corrected herself. Now I know that mainly all of you guys are looking at clips. You don't watch the full podcast and you don't know what she's actually saying. You're just working off the assumptions and what you've been seeing on X. Okay, got it. Okay, I get where y'all coming from now.
Sure that I know what UTC is.
Let me.
I'm very smart. I don't know. I want to check. Is UTC
Universal?
Universal.
I didn't know that.
Okay.
Now I wouldn't have said it's Utah time.
Greenwich Mean Time. Same thing.
Well, I know.
But the woke people changed it.
Oh, I forgot.
Yes, they stole it from the British.
Okay.
Let me. I want to.
So I know what Greenwich Mean Time is. Fine, but I didn't know that name. I didn't know Tim.
Universal time.
Did not know.
You didn't know Universal Central Time?
What UTC was.
Okay, that's fine.
Blame it on your
so let me. Okay.
I don't think I wouldn't leap to saying Utah.
Here's what I want to say.
It's an understandable mistake.
Here's what I want to say. Right. One of the components.
Change
one of the functions of our business is our memberships of our Discord server. Mm-hmm. Without it, we can't exist. Mm-hmm. And that's usually how I pitch it because it's true.
Yep.
One of the things they teach you when you work for these nonprofits is that urgency is key.
Mm-hmm.
After I left this environmental group, Jaded, I went to work for a smaller homeless shelter. Mm-hmm. And I was told as a fundraiser that their homeless shelters are at capacity. And if they can't get more money, they will have to turn people away. You know what the truth was?
Yeah. They're probably empty.
Completely empty because homeless people don't want to be in shelters.
No, they don't. They don't. They're there because they're crazy. They want to be on the streets.
It's not even, it's a variety of issues.
Drug
addict, crazy.
But if they wanted to live indoors in comfort with food, many of them could have a different situation than the one they have.
This was the final straw for me in the nonprofit sector.
Right.
When I realized even the small ones are lying.
So you went from a big bad guy to a little guy thinking that maybe that plucky honesty, and it turned out they were telling all
of it's the same lie. And so here's an example. Mm-hmm. We have security threats. Mm-hmm. What if I said, and I did this whole bit on the show the other day, I said, what if I said,
all right, now we're gonna go ahead and move on to let's go ahead and move on to left-wing media. Not really left-wing media, left-leaning comedy with our guy Jon Stewart, because he was actually cooking on this point. He was cooking on this point, guys. Believe it or not, my man was cooking. So let's get right into it with this whole. I would say the similarities between Iraq and Venezuela, and how it seems like we might be repeating, past atrocities. Let's get right into it.
Regime change is inconsistent with an award.
Now that's what would be funny, because I mean, now the Democratic base, don't y'all definitely blindly follow y'all politicians. You blindly follow Joe Biden into the biggest affordability crisis and high inflation. And what did you tell the American people? You blindly followed your leader and you said that we're in the best economy ever and we're being ungrateful. So let's not talk about blindly following, because it happens on both sides, actually.
And delicately reassure us that Trump is not like.
Actually, y'all blindly followed Joe Biden in support for the Ukraine and Russian war. Let's be real.
Like those other.
Here it is, Venezuela. And then my mom's home country right next to it, Guyana. So that's the only reason why I even know where Venezuela is.
Venezuela. I had a feeling, but I wasn't 1,000% convinced.
Damn. 31.8 million, twice the size of California, President Maduro.
Feeling, but I wasn't 1,000% convinced.
In Colombia. Yeah, but like really minuscule amount actually comes out of Venezuela. Now, the cocaine, heroin, human smuggling, those actually do go on in Venezuela, operated by the cartel. So you're right. It may not be, fentanyl, but it is cocaine and heroin we're also knocking out as well. And if you really want to know who's to blame about the fentanyl and the precursors and all that good stuff, well, you can blame China and India for that one. Really, India, because there are lax laws on pharmaceuticals. You really might want to look into India on that. You'd be pretty. What did Marco Rubio just say? Well, they work with China, they work with Iran, they work with Russia. So they just work with all of our enemies. So we got to get them through. We got to get them up through. Oof. Now, yeah, that is a bit concerning. And, the fact that Trump is going for hemispherical power, no longer trying to be the world leader. So it does kind of seem like he's trying to straighten things out in, our own backyard. Over here in the Western Hemisphere. With Iran, Hezbollah, basically Lebanon, and then here's the thing, Marco Rubio, can you prove this? Or are we just trying to throw every terrorist organization onto there to convince American people that it's okay to strike Venezuela? What are we doing here?
I'm sold.
Can you make that connection? Honestly, can you honestly make that connection? We can make the connection to China for sure, but to Hezbollah and Iran, I mean, dog. Not to be a dick, but he would be proud. I remember, that man Dick Cheney will be proud. Actually, something wrong with the Cheney. It seemed like they just go for any war. He passed down the warmongering spirit to his daughter, and now she holds it. And let's be real. I'll be real with you. If Kamala Harris would have got elected with Liz Cheney, with Liz Cheney supporting her, bro, we'd have been on, in my belief, we'd have probably been in a full-scale war with Russia, full-scale war. And we'd have bombed Iran, and we'd have actually put boots on the ground. We'd have probably been in a two-front war, talking about protecting democracy. And China's heavy influence inside Venezuela as well. So we also want to get rid of that. But to sit here and try to link all of these terrorist groups to Venezuela to try to convince the American people that it's okay to strike Venezuela, it's a bit ridiculous. Because honestly, like I said, the only tie that I'm able to link to is probably Iran and, my bad, not Iran, but I think Russia and China. Those are the only two, Russia and China. Because Russia, they've already sent nuclear submarines over there to protect their interest. In China, well, they're kind of saying hush hush. But as far as I'm concerned, the only people that Maduro's involved with is Putin and Xi. I mean, hey, that's what the Trump doctrine is pretty much saying. It's look, man, we pretty much own everything y'all standing on if it's on the Western Hemisphere. And we're now going to assert our dominance on the Western Hemisphere. And that is what the Trump doctrine says. So we're going to pull back from trying to be a global power to being a hemispherical power. And does that make things any better? Well, to be continued on that note. Pretty much honestly what we're saying in a way is we're about to take this world, split it in half, and look, Russia, you can go ahead and have Ukraine. I mean, China, you can get Taiwan, but you better not mess with us when it comes to Canada, Mexico, and South America. All of South America is going to be ours at a certain point. If this is what Trump is, if Trump is serious about hemispherical power, he's just going to pretty much take everything on that's on the east side to the chin. All right, well, Taiwan, you're going to be China. Ukraine, you're going to be Russia. And South America, well, you're basically America.
And we get South America. America is no longer the shining city on the hill.
And shout out to Steph. She says, "Hey, Seth, you feeling better, bud?" And hey, everyone. I'm feeling a little. Well, not really, actually. I'm not even feeling better at all. But I got me some medicine, so I'm pulling. They're going somewhere else with this. They're going somewhere else. But all right, though. I just wanted to bring that up because I ain't gonna lie. Man, Jon Stewart was making some pretty good points on there, and he was doing it, quite hilariously. So shout out to that guy. But all right, now let's go ahead and get into some criticism on JD Vance. Social media users asked Vance to send Usha back to India, which is wild as hell to say, but let's get into it. Oh yeah, the first post.
There are two kinds of politics. One is the politics of convenience. The other is the politics of principles. It's easy to defend your principles, but it's a lot harder to defend your convenience. Just ask US Vice President JD Vance. He has become the chief spokesman for Donald Trump's movement, right-wing, conservative, anti-woke, but also well-spoken. Yesterday, he triggered a new controversy. Let me quote from JD Vance's statement. This is what he said. Mass migration is theft of the American dream.
True.
It has always been this way, and every position paper, think tank piece, and econometric study suggesting otherwise is paid for by the people getting rich off the old system. Talk about killing a debate. First, he makes an outlandish claim, and then he says, if you disagree, you are
outlandish. Is it outlandish though? Mass migration is theft of the American dream. I mean, especially the burden it has on our social system, especially the H-1B visa programs, how the corporations abuse that to kind of undermine. Well, actually, they do undermine the American citizen. So, no, that's not an outrageous claim, but it is kind of funny how anytime we talk about H-1B visas, you always can expect an Indian person to come up there and, hold water.
Wait. First, he makes an outlandish claim.
Oh, shout out to my man Charles, sending a laughing disco for $250. Appreciate the support, my man.
And then he says, if you disagree, you are on someone's payroll. Let's focus on the first bit. JD Vance says mass migration is theft of the American dream. This claim triggered outrage on social media. Look at one popular response. That means you have to send Usha, her Indian family, and your biracial kids back to India.
That is not what it means. It means that we have to stop allowing immigrants and these tech companies and other companies as well in other industries to put in H-1B visas for what they say is honestly, they say they're going to bring them in at what? A level 1, level 2, but have them doing level 3, level 4 jobs. And then they also extort these guys by making them work longer hours because, there's place here in the United States is tied to their employment. And you can act a little bit more reckless with those type of employees. I think you guys know what I mean. But I mean, a lot of Dems like to forget that part about it. They actually defer the extortion sometimes. But yeah, that doesn't mean that JD Vance has to send back his whole family. It means that, we do need to stop this whole H-1B visa program that's undermining American scholars. Period, point blank.
Let us know when you buy the plane tickets, you must lead by example. Some context here. Usha is JD Vance's wife. She was born to Indian immigrant parents. Her children with JD Vance are also half Indian.
Okay, so what? Was she born in India she had Indian immigrant parents. That means she was born in America pretty much.
So people are saying, start with your own family. If immigration is so bad, send them back to India.
Okay, so it's just the Dems trying to make a petty point pretty much. That's what it is. It's just Dems trying to make a petty point about, since you want to talk about immigration, send your wife back to India. Dog, she's an American. You sound retarded. I mean, I guess I'm assuming that she was born in America or she'd have said it. Born to immigrant parents instead of just saying she was born in India. Because I was born to immigrant parents, but I was born in the United States, Nashville, Tennessee.
India. Now, this criticism is not new for JD Vance. He faces fire from the left and the right. His own supporters have a problem with Usha Vance's religion. She's called herself a practicing Hindu.
That is true, though. They do have a problem with her being a Hindu, but that's the problem, though, that the conservative party need to low-key, I don't get it. They've become Christian supremacists. Yeah, you heard me right. They became Christian supremacists, where their religion's the top religion. No other religion can be followed or tolerated. Nope. Actually, it's gotten to the point where they've urged this young lady middle-aged lady to convert to, either The Christianity, Catholicism doesn't matter as long as you're no longer a Hindu. I mean, that is what's going on in conservative media. It seems like there's Christian supremacy going around.
But many MAGA Republicans see Hinduism as a pagan religion.
Yeah, I mean,
a few weeks
I'll
ago,
be real with you. And I'm talking about my side. We do look down on any other religion that isn't Christianity. It's kind of fucked up, but it's something that's practiced on this side.
J.D. Vance tried to appease them. He publicly wished that his wife would convert to Christianity. And now he's facing attacks from the left. Well, this is what happens when you play politics of convenience. When you fan the flames of hate for votes, your opposition becomes indefensible.
Now, he did not fan no hates for votes. You guys are just mad because the H-1B visa program is something that India abuses. Yes, you guys abuse it. We know this. That's why she's over here holding water for it. The left, like, is like I said, it's a really petty point to sit there and be, well, send your wife back, even though she's an American citizen. Y'all, you guys are just being petty. You're just being petty because he's going against mass migration. And you guys are in support of mass migration for some strange reason that I do not understand. Well, actually, I do, because you actually believe that you're helping the American people out through mass migration when you're doing nothing but hurting us.
For starters, this is a change in goalposts.
It is?
The Trump camp began by attacking illegal migration, and that is understandable. By all means, deport illegal aliens, as you call them. It's your country, it's your policy. But now the goalpost has changed to mass migration, not illegal, mass migration. And don't look at this claim in isolation. Look at what Trump is doing. The US president banned immigration from so-called third world countries, yet he is taking migrants from specific groups. He is taking white South Africans or Eastern Europeans. So what really is the problem here?
I mean, yeah, Hungary and Poland was doing the same. They was only taking white Christians. I mean, well, he's the president. He can take in whoever he wants or who he chooses to. And I'm be real with you, I'm kind of okay with him doing that because look at the results in Europe. Because these guys were pressured into taking in these immigrants who were not going to assimilate to their society. Look what's going on with the crime and all that good stuff. So, yeah, you can't sit there and shame Trump for doing what works. Because what Poland and Hungary did, it worked.
Is it mass migration or is it the color
Like it
of
or not?
migrants? Secondly, look at the double standard. Trump himself comes from a family of migrants.
And shout out to my man Gaming. He says, I mean, if everywhere else gets to do, why can't we? Well, we mean everywhere else gets to what? Hate on Christians? I don't think they hate on Christianity, dog. I don't think the rest of the world does that. I don't know. You got to be a little more specific with that one.
His grandfather used to live in present-day Germany. He went to the US in the 1880s. In fact, none of his grandparents was born in America. All of them immigrated. Yet that is not considered a problem. The migration of Usha.
No, because when you're born in America, you have a different type of loyalty to it. You have a different type of love for it since you were born in it. Like, I don't know what's wrong with you guys, but I lady, I know you can't understand because you're not born in America. But I'm pretty sure if you flip the argument on her on being born in India, like, lady, would you want anybody who's not Indian, who wasn't born in India, to hold an office in your country? She would probably tell me no, most likely. She would tell me hell no. Would you like anybody who's not Hindu to hold any important offices in your country? She would tell me hell no. And guess what? She would be just like y'all, just like you guys, when she said, do you want any Muslims holding any offices in your country? She would say hell no, because the way Indians treat Muslims is outright atrocious. But they don't tell you that.
Vance's family is also not a problem.
So, and my argument is, who the fuck is any of the judge? Especially First Post, especially y'all.
Current migration is a problem. I'm afraid this is an old trick. The US has seen multiple waves of immigration. Experts talk about 4 main waves of immigration that the US has seen. The first one was from 1680 to 1776. Now, most of these immigrants were Germans, Scots, and Irish. The second wave was from 18.
I'm gonna be real with you. I wish that was true. Like, somebody says, oh, people choose to move to a country, therefore have more respect for the country. No, they don't. No, they don't. If they did, during that little LA ICE riot, you wouldn't have had a whole bunch of Mexicans waving their Mexican flag. If they did, you wouldn't have a whole bunch of people in Dearborn, Michigan, which is a few of them, waving the Somalian flag. If people actually came over here from other countries and were more and respected it like the people who were born here, we wouldn't even have this problem. To be quite honest with you, If the people who are foreign born came here with the same respect as people who are native born, we would not be talking at all. Like, man,
1820 to
some people don't know what
1890,
they're
these
talking
included Norwegians and Chinese. The third wave was during industrialization.
It's like, dog, I can even go off my own example. I love America more than my mom does. Why? Because my mom loves her home country, Guyana. I love America. I would even dare say my dad loves his home country more than America because they were born there. So I get that. So they get why I have more of a kin towards American, or I love America more than their home country. Why? Because I was born here. Like, it's as easy as that. The fact that y'all can't see that, bro, this is why these immigrants play in your face like that.
These immigrants came from Eastern and Southern Europe, and the fourth wave began in 1965. This wave is still bringing.
Oh, yeah. But shout out to David Wright. He says, have religious supremacy. Other countries don't like when we bring our religion to their front door. I agree with you on Indians. It's ironic, right? Bro, literally, it's ironic how they talking. But you do have a point, though. Like, have religious supremacy. Other countries don't like when we bring our religion to their front door. And then on the flip side, maybe we shouldn't bring our religion to their front doors, or we should kill all Christian missionaries and we should just let bygones be bygones. Like, it is what it is, bro. If y'all want to be Muslim ran, go ahead, have fun. We're taking all our Christian missionaries and we're just going to kill all missionary work on both sides, Islam and Christian alike, and just kill all missionary work. Let's see what happens then.
Asian immigrants to the United States.
Mm-hmm.
The fact is, all of these waves were criticized. The same concerns were raised in the 1600s, in the 1700s, in the 1900s. But in the end, economics prevailed. The US needed these immigrants, so the migration continued. And do not get us wrong here. We're not saying that Washington has an obligation to welcome migrants. No country does. Your borders, your policy. But don't hide behind double standards.
No, it's not hiding behind double standards, because let's be real. Honestly, be real with you, when the country was, as the white identitarians like to say, 90% black, yeah, those are due to the interests of the corporate elites to try to drive down pricing on labor. So, I mean, thank you for being a part of the corporate agenda to drive down our wages. We appreciate it.
You make fake genocide claims to welcome white South Africans, but you weaponize mass shootings to keep out Afghans. This double standard is the problem. So J.D. Vance should not be surprised at the outrage.
Hold on now. Well, that's not really a double standard. Letting in white Christians that's going to assimilate to your culture is a little bit easier than letting in, I'm be real with you, Muslims who may not assimilate to your culture. I'm be real with you, especially if you're a majority Christian nation. More than likely, the Christian guys or the Christian foreigners are going to assimilate if that's what you're going for. And I ain't saying that I'm a favorite. I'm not saying I'm, honestly, yeah, I kind of am. If you ask me, who would you rather let in? A bunch of Christians or a bunch of Muslims? And I'll sit there and I'll tell you, well, if you ask me if I was going by order, I'll take the Christians first. See, now we're a majority Christian nation. If we was a majority Muslim nation, I'll take the Muslims first because they're going to be quicker to assimilate. It's just the way it is. But due to the fact that we are a majority Christian nation, I mean, come on now. You can't sit there and ignore it, and you can't call us racist for bringing it up.
He's a walking contradiction in the MAGA world.
Not really, but I hear where you're going with this. I definitely hear it. She kind of got a point. She kind of got a point, though, because to sit there and say, oh, well, you lied about a genocide. No, we didn't lie about a genocide. There were actually genocidal language being used against those white Africans. There was guys literally having whole rallies talking about kill the white farmer. So no, there was definitely genocidal language being used against them. So that's one of the reasons why we let them in. But to say that, oh, well, now because of one Afghan shoots a National Guardman, we got to look over, 90,000 of them that we let in through the same program is unfair? No, that's just crossing our eyes, and that's just crossing our T's and dotting our I's and all that good stuff. So what are you talking about? Yes, we're going to look over 90,000 of these guys that we let in and revet them to make sure that the probability of this happening again lowers. All right. So it's not about having a double standard. Like, trust me. If the double standard was real, we'd have just said, oh, we're just going to revoke all of their immigration status and just send them all back. But hey, it is what it is. All right, now let's go ahead and get into another Indian guy, my man Vivek Ramaswamy, who's actually accepted in the Conservative Party, even though he is Hindu. Well, I'm sorry, but he is an Indian and he does practice Hinduism.
Ohio's next governor, Vivek Ramaswamy. All right, Vivek, he talks about eliminating the Green New Scam. He talked about surging steel production in the great state of Pennsylvania, eliminating sex changes for kids.
I mean, someone said it is a racist view. How? I say Christians are Muslims. It could have been any color Christian. It could have been black Christians, Asian Muslims, black Muslims. It could have been anyone. See, you're racist for assuming the color.
Eliminating CRT. I mean, these are the kind of things that really haven't been talked about by anybody besides him.
So look, I think one of the great things about that speech, Jesse, is it was reminding Americans of a basic thing that unites us. It's called common sense. And that's what won the election in 2024. And I think it's what's going to win us in 2026 as well. Look at those first 9 months. President Trump ran on securing the border. He's secured the border.
So yeah, Trump is on a affordability tour. And I was going to play the video of one of his speeches. It was like an hour-long speech. So we'll play it again. Or I'll play it, my bad, not play it again, but I'll play it later on tonight. And shout out to Seth. Nigeria Islamist group Boko Haram target Christians, and here in the U.S., it's self-famous people mock God all the time, but personally, our religion is same God. Yeah, I mean, I like your view on that one, and you're right. That is true. Christians have been getting killed since 2009. About 100,000 of them have been killed since 2009 from Boko Haram in Nigeria, so you are right. And this is what I say. I always just say, like, maybe we should just kill all missionary work. We just keep the Christianity in the Christian countries, keep the Muslims in the Muslim countries, and don't try to spread our ideology. Because apparently, when we try to spread it, people take offense to that.
Illegal crossings are effectively.
But then again, that's a slippery slope. Because then, I mean, what are we going to do? Accept all the Christians that don't want to be accepted in those nations and cause another migration problem? But then we're going to be like, oh, well, at least they're Christians, Set. I don't know, man. It seems a bit hypocritical.
Down to zero. He ran on securing international peace abroad against skeptics, even in places like the Middle East, is now making major strides in that direction. And now the turn is correctly turning to domestic economics, where the focus is and ought to be. And I think one of the things that was really useful in that speech, Jesse, was to remind Americans of what causes and what caused runaway inflation. It's overspending by the federal government. And I think the way
that's crazy. People who say there is no God, I think you guys lack honestly real thinking. I think you guys lack real thinking. Like those who are atheists think that they know everything. Oh, there's no God. I'm like, bro, think about it like this. And if you can't see it like this, you're being intellectually dishonest. You sit there, you play video games, you see how the sky looks, the water looks, all this stuff, and how that was created by a human being. What makes you think that you may not be living in the same exact thing created by some force unbeknownst to you? Like, if you can believe in a gaming simulation, you can't believe that there's a God that might have created the simulation that you're living in right now? I mean, isn't that kind of weird? I'm just saying, like, you don't have to believe in the Christian God or whatever. But you could at least sit there and be like, yeah, there is a creator, though, for sure. There got to be a creator. I mean, don't be intellectually dishonest now. Like, you see it all around you, especially Mother Nature. Like, bro, it's like we're living in one big coding system. Things work a certain way. They don't work at random. They work a certain way in order for all times. That's coding.
Trump was able to make that tangible. That's what happened during the Biden years. But now there's changes, investing in compound interest for the next generation of young Americans with the Trump accounts, heading in a new direction. I think this is going to be really positive for us heading into 2026. Explaining to everyday Americans at home what caused those prices to go up, but now what's actually going to cause them to go down, both at the federal and state level. And I think this is a good development and a good move that I want to see more of heading into next year.
He's a great storyteller, and it was smart to put a face on the story. You have Donna.
I don't know why I'm laying into this argument, but F it. He says, I don't play. See, then you're being intellectually dishonest and you don't understand how simulation works and how it relates to the current reality that you're living in. Because then it'd be quite obvious and be like, oh, yeah, you're right. So if somebody can create a video game or The Sims or something like that and control people's lifestyle and all this good stuff, I wonder why that can't happen to me. I'm just like, just be honest, or look at Mother Nature. Look at how coding works. If like I said, I think you're being intellectually dishonest. If you know about coding, you'll understand that when you do coding, this is how you make certain programs work and act a certain way. Like why water is wet. I mean, shit. why we have currents. All this stuff has basically been coded into our reality. Gravity coded it into our reality. Who did this? Why is it like this? I mean, it's easy to explain because we do it every day when we make video games or simulations to run tests. A creator. Easy. And like I say, you don't got to believe in the Christian, Allah. You don't got to believe in none of that. But you do got to be intellectually honest with yourself and understand that there is a creator.
Who came up, no tax on tips. You have Sean, no tax on overtime. He's going to be doing this across the country in these competitive races. And you humanize it. You put a face to the policy, and that's what people want to see. They want it to be real.
I thought that was one of the best parts of the event, actually, is seeing everyday Americans, hardworking Americans, tell their stories of gradually how they're making their way out of economic difficulty. One of the things I hear about in Ohio is when you think about even no tax on overtime, I'm talking to people who lead companies saying that workers are actually showing up with a greater sense of pride and community, also knowing that that money is going straight to their pocket. So none of this is going to happen overnight. Not all of it belongs with the federal government's responsibility either, Jesse. There's job for state governments to speed up permitting, to increase the supply of energy production in places like Pennsylvania.
Which they haven't done in blue states. I always do say, like, there are certain things that if you're in a blue state, there is certain things that your local government can be doing to tackle affordability instead of just blaming it on Trump. Like, they could lower taxes. You know that, right? They could do lower taxes, and that would also help you guys out in affordability. But they don't do that. They don't even propose it. They just complain. You guys complain about affordability, and they point you in Trump's direction, but they're the ones that control your state taxes. They're the one that control the regulations in your state. But they somehow trick you to blame Trump? Interesting.
This is like my home state of Ohio. President Trump has now done his part. It's now up to states, including people like myself who are up in 2026, to do our part and follow those policies to increase the supply of housing, bring down those costs further, improve education in our country. Note the nod to homeschooling today. I thought that was really smart as well. Looking at educational choice, allowing every child their own unique path to the American dream. That's what we need to be talking about. And in between the lines of that speech, that is what you heard today. A revival of this quaint idea called the American dream. The idea that if you work hard, you play by the rules, you get ahead in this country. We heard from Donna. We heard from several of those hardworking Americans today. And I think that is what is going to win us in 2026. And I'm looking forward to it, Jesse.
Yeah, if we can get those rates down faster, we can make that American dream a reality. Vivek, great to see you as always. Click here to subscribe to the Fox.
I do like Vivek's message. The only problem with Vivek is that whole H-1B visa debacle where he was low-key trying to call everybody mediocre. And I'm just like, dog, you did not become a multi-billionaire who speaks oh so well in India. No, India didn't make you a multi-billionaire. No, it was American culture that did. India didn't give you that hard-working spirit. No, it was America. Sorry, but yeah, not them. So it is kind of crazy how people of, like I said, of immigration descent or who have parents who are immigrants or anything like that, like, and I'll even say including myself, because I do see myself as a bit of a special case. Because like I said, my parents are immigrants, but I love America more than I love my mom's home country. But not everybody that was born like me or that has a family structure like mine thinks the same way. They actually love their family's home country, or their mother or their father's home country more than they love America. Even though America is the one that's giving them all this prosperity, is allowing them to live a better lifestyle than their parents lived back in their home country. They kind of lose touch with all of that. But hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. All right, man. Let's get into one of the most hated conservatives in America, Stephen Miller.
My next guest has been a driving force behind President Trump's immigration policies. He is White House Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy, Stephen Miller. Stephen, great to see you. You know, the interesting thing about hearing from a guy like Gene Simmons right there and what he had to say, when you do talk to someone who is either the child or the direct legal immigrant to the United States, they often share that type of love of America. Wherein when we look at an illegal population, you don't often hear that same type of patriotism.
Well, first of all, thank you for having this conversation, Will. I think there's been an incredible lack of honest, truthful, candid conversation in American media for a very long time about immigration policy. And you're right, of course, that immigrants who come here illegally engage in an act of spite against America from the moment they cross that border, and they continue to break our laws and flout our system and defy our rules every single day they're here. and continue to plunder and pillage off the system. And of course, their children, as a result of so-called birthright citizenship, which is the greatest scam in history, get unlimited welfare for life that goes to the benefit of legal alien parents. But I want to address your.
And if you don't think that we use, let's be real. A lot of people don't know this, but we do use Medicaid money to fund, honestly, child health care for illegal immigrants and their children. Yeah. I mean, it's not just for medical services through the free clinics that they can get medical service from on taxpayer dollars. But remember, they can also get child medical care on taxpayer dollars as well.
Monologue specifically about the 1965 Immigration Act and what that means in American history. So during the civil rights era, and this is the simplest way I can put it, there was a thought in effect, if you go back and you can read the transcripts of the debate at the time, of applying civil rights to immigration policy for the globe and to create a civil right for people from every part of the world to come to America in ever-growing numbers. And so a system that for years, as you mentioned, had been tightly restricted, suddenly established this global ability of people in every part of the world to come to America, to bring their families to America, and then eventually empty out their entire towns and their entire villages to the United States of America. And so what you saw between 1965 and today was the single largest experiment on a society, on a civilization that had ever been conducted in human history. Not just the 76 million immigrants that were brought in.
Now, let me go ahead and point you to this right here. And shout out to our people at, bloodcenterunited.org. I actually posted this on my main page because I was getting into a debate with some commenters about, oh, what you mean illegals don't get health care? What are you talking about, S.E.T? I mean, bro, when blood cancer, bloodcancerunited.org says this, I mean, come on now. Seeking medical care. Healthcare professionals should not ask your immigration status. Healthcare professionals are not allowed to share your personal information, including your immigration status, with others. Free low-cost clinics often offer care regardless of immigration status. Search for a free low-cost clinic. You can also go to an emergency room if you need emergency care. You have a right to an interpreter at no cost when seeking medical care, which is actually pretty nice. We're actually nice people. But when you sit there and say that they don't get health care, when you sit there and say that they don't get medical services on taxpayer dollar, you are lying to yourself. Actually, you're lying to the American people. And I'd like to ask you to stop, to cease these actions. But all right, let's get back to our guy, Stephen Miller.
Largely from the third world, but their descendants too. So you see with a lot of these immigrant groups, not only is the first generation unsuccessful, again, Somalia is a clear example here. Not only is the first generation unsuccessful, but you see persistent issues in every subsequent generation. So you see consistent high rates of welfare use, consistent high rates of criminal activity, consistent failures to assimilate. But this shouldn't be a surprise, Will. It's just common sense. If Somalians cannot make Somalia successful, why would we think that the track record would be any different in the United States? Go third world country by third world country. No one's saying, look, there are people all over the world that are great people. But you look at the society. If Libya keeps failing,
But I do want to also drill this point home, though, because I really want to drill this point home, because y'all don't really get it. Federally qualified health centers, all right, are community-based nonprofit clinics providing comprehensive, affordable primary care in underserved areas, funded by Healthcare Resources and Services Administration, all right, to serve anyone regardless of insurance or ability to pay, using sliding fee scales based on income. So this is how, and yes, you can use these. Yes, many federal qualified, let me just, for the slow people in the back. But yes, many federally qualified health centers, community clinics, and free clinics provide medical services regardless of immigration status. I mean, don't get mad at me, bro. Just get mad at the facts. I mean, patient advocacy, healthcare options for undocumented immigrants. Bro, they literally write articles telling immigrants how to get health care on the American taxpayer dollar. They write articles, dog. Writing articles, bro. It's almost hilarious. Know your rights. Undocumented immigrants have certain rights when it comes to accessing healthcare services. In emergencies, anyone, regardless of immigration status, is entitled to receive emergency medical care. It's like they write whole articles for this. I mean, of course, the IMTILA, they bring up IMTILA. They bring up the fact that pregnant women, let me see here. Let me see if I can find the pregnant women one, because that one is the most egregious one. But yes, in emergency Medicaid. In some states, emergency Medicaid programs provide limited healthcare coverage for undocumented immigrants. Okay, then I'm glad you understand that now. I'm hoping that you're coming to the understanding that you've been lied to, who meet specific criteria. Crazy, but they want to tell you that it's a lie, though. Isn't that crazy? I mean, Children Healthcare Insurance Program, CHIP, undocumented immigrant children. Undocumented immigrant children may qualify for coverage under the Children's Healthcare Insurance Program. Did y'all forget about that? Did y'all forget how nice of a people we are? I mean, we're really nice people, right? I mean, either we're suckers or we're really fucking nice. But then the Dems will sit here and tell you in your face that don't exist, is not happening. Okay, bro. Okay.
If the Central African Republic keeps failing, if Somalia keeps failing, right?
Hilarious.
If these societies all over the world continue to fail, you have to ask yourself, if you bring those societies into our country and then give them unlimited free welfare, what do we think is going to happen? You're going to replicate the conditions that they left over and over and over again. And we mask the impact of immigration in every public policy issue we discuss. We talk about test scores. Well, if you subtract immigration out of test scores, all of a sudden our test scores skyrocket. If you subtract immigration out of healthcare, all of a sudden we don't have nearly the size of the healthcare challenge.
Now, we do got a lot of them, though. I'll be real with you. Because what was it? Minnesota got 61,000. Yeah, we're second place, Ohio. I told you, in Columbus specifically, we have a large Somali population. Now, I'm going to be real with you. Nobody focuses on our Somali population because they're kind of chill. Like, they're actually pretty chill guys. I'm being quite honest with you. That's why I don't got a problem with them. But yeah, I'm be quite honest. If we sit there and took out their test scores, maybe, but I don't want to sit there and just throw the whole group of people under their bus saying that they're all dumb. But a lot of them that come over here from foreign countries can't really keep up with us in schooling. Now, I've seen that since I was a kid.
Our country faces. If you subtract immigration out of public safety, all of a sudden we don't have violent crime in so many of our cities. Issue after issue, we talk about these things that they just happen to us. The schools just suddenly fail. Violent crime just suddenly explodes. The deficit just suddenly skyrockets. These are a result of social policy choices that we made through immigration.
And Stephen, I think the word choice that you just used sticks out to me. You said, when we import these societies, it's not the importation of individuals, but individuals in such a number that there's never a requirement and often even not a desire to assimilate, then what you have done is import the previous society. Are there Somalis that can assimilate into the United States and be successful in this new world? Absolutely.
Facts.
But when it's done at such numbers that it's never a requirement and maybe not even a desire, then you can live in unassimilated communities in the United States. You never have a cohesive common bond with the existing nation, and you can live the way that you did in Somalia or in Central America.
Even worse than that, you end up with what our founding fathers feared the most, which is that you have foreign immigrants who become advocates, not for this country, but the country that they left.
Yep, and that's a problem. Like I said, that's a huge problem, that they come advocates for countries that they left instead of the country that's giving them the most opportunity. And it's just like, what's up? Like, if that's how y'all truly feel, then why didn't y'all stay in that country? Why are you advocating for a country that you left when you should be advocating the country that you're in? Why do you train your children to advocate for the country that you left instead of the country that you're in? Because Lord knows my parents didn't do that to me. But I do see a lot of guys that have the same background that I do with immigrants' parents who love their parents' country more than they love America. And that, I'm be real with you, that's wrong. You shouldn't do that.
So you see, replete throughout Somali politics in Minnesota is this constant concern about how to reorient U.S. politics around Somalia, and then using welfare fraud, pillaging the U.S. financial system to prop up a foreign country. So in this case, the U.S. becomes an object not of patriotism, but of plunder. And when you're talking about assimilation, two things matter enormously: the numbers and how different the cultures are. So the further away in culture you go and the larger in number you go, by definition, the greater challenge it poses to assimilation.
Yes. So one last question, Stephen. I think you and I could have and should have this conversation at a much longer scale. This is something that is incredibly important and worthy of a half hour together. But such is the nature of television as it is right now. I'm working on that. But this will be quickly my last question for you. What can we do, Stephen? You know, this was something America addressed in the 1920s. They had these debates. They had these conversations openly, and they chose in the 1920s to say, we are going to put strict quotas on people coming from different parts of the world. 65 did away with what we did in the 20s. So do we need something like the 1924 Act?
Clearly, we need to have in this country exactly what President Trump called for, which is that we need a moratorium on immigration from third world countries until we can heal ourselves as a nation, solve our education issues, solve our healthcare issues, our public safety issues, our assimilation issues, our cultural issues. So the 1924 Act is such a good example because we had large-scale immigration from Europe from 1880 to 1920. So in other words, we went from a country that had immigration from part of Europe to immigration from many other parts of Europe. But even other European countries pose enormous stresses on the U.S. system, both economically and in terms of security. There's a lot of crime, a lot of threats to public safety and order, and those were addressed with very strict immigration quotas. What they don't teach you in school is that from 1920 to 1970, there was negative migration. There was a half century of negative migration. The foreign-born population declined by 40% for half a century. During that same time period, Will, the U.S. population doubled from natural childbirth. That was the cauldron in which a unified shared national identity was formed. They went through a depression together. They went through world wars together. They landed on the moon together. This great period in American history happened at a time when there was negative migration. They don't teach that to our kids in school. And frankly, I would submit very few politicians serving in Congress probably know that, Will.
Oh, man. Let's work on that half-hour conversation on television, not just on podcast and digital. Thank you so much, Stephen Miller.
Thank you.
Hey, it's Will Kane.
I'll give him that one. No, he's right. 1970s, really the 60s and 70s, we were doing pretty good. Low immigration at the time too. Affordability was high, or affordability was definitely there. Trust me, affordability was at the best. Man, people buying houses at like what, 50,000 and less. Lucky bastards. All right, now let's go ahead and move on here because we spent a good amount of time on the right. So let's go ahead and move it to the left here. Millions of Australian children just lost social media. Let's see how this works out because, hey, Australia, you made yourself a guinea pig. Let's see what taking away social media from children does because I can only see it giving positive results, to be quite honest. But let's hear about it.
Well, beginning today, kids under the age of 16 in Australia are being forced off social media platforms like TikTok and Instagram. Here's the complete list. Australia's ban for young users went into effect a few hours ago, making it the first.
I'm weak. And for those of you guys who's offended by, the hatred for Somalian people, don't worry, bro. They hit back. Look, check out this video. It'll make you feel better. It'll make you laugh a little bit. Come on.
So facts are coming out now that Minnesota was promised to the Somalis. And that was 3,000 years ago. Those are facts. Facts don't care about your feelings. Debate a wall. It doesn't matter to us. But one of the things that many people don't know is that the name of the lake that is so-called Lake Calhoun or Bede Makaska is actually derivative of a Somali phrase, which is Bade Makasikahai, which means Badeda, my body of water. Makasikahai, I will never move away from there. Maka, which means not. Siko, which means to scooch or move. Makasikahai. Badeda Kamasikanai. Badeda Makatakayo. That's my body of water. And this shows you that Somalis have been long ingrained in that land as is promised us 3,000 years ago.
Boy, land that was promised to them 3,000 years ago is hilarious.
Nor the right wing were I do not think neither him nor the right wing were prepared for this next level of trolling. Somali Twitter has been giving me life these last few days, okay? If you are not on Somali Twitter, you are sorely missing out. Starting with this one, which I love because racists and Islamophobes love to use that meme. According to Genesis 12, those who bless Somalia will be blessed and those who curse Somalia will be cursed. Listen, if I don't steal it, someone else will.
That's
Minnesota Somalis are surrounded by hostile forces. People
Hey, nah. Minnesota Somalis are surrounded by hostile forces, and people are openly calling out for our eradication. This is why the world must understand the stakes. If Minnesota falls, the whole world, the whole Western civilization falls with it. Does that sound familiar? That sounds a little familiar. Gotta be this funny. Those who bless Somali will be blessed. Hilarious.
Those who curse Somalia will be cursed. Listen, if I don't steal it, someone else will. Minnesota Somalis are surrounded by hostile forces and people. If Minnesota falls, the whole Western civilization falls with us. America has 50 states. Somalia only has one. Why don't Americans move to the other 50 states? Are they anti-Somali? This is a proposal. Not the birthright trip. Oh, shit. Yeah, they went
There's 5 dancing Somalis doing what we do best. All right, yeah, now y'all taking it there.
there.
Hey, nah, to come out Tommy Robinson, bro, track Somal pack. Tommy Robinson, militant, receives $9.4 million from the Somali pack. These guys, they're all right. Go ahead, good cook.
Now offering Aliyah tours from Mogadishu to Minneapolis to all Somalis worldwide.
Yo, Somalic, oh hell no! Join us for a birthright trip to the Somali people, to their homeland, explore historical sites, lay claim to land near the Lusk, Mississippi. Bro, they're going too far. Y'all going too far, bruh.
Even return to her homeland. Bro, I could keep going. There are some banger fucking videos too. I do not think Trump nor his racist anti-Muslim supporters were expecting this level of this master craftsmanship of trolling.
Oh no, we were. It's just we didn't think they were gonna be that funny. I'll be quite honest with you. I knew they were gonna hit back, like who doesn't? But I didn't think it was gonna be that funny. I didn't think they were gonna start relating themselves to Israel. That's absolutely hilarious.
Country to set a minimum age for the legal access to top popular platforms.
Lawmakers say they want to protect children's well-being, and their efforts are backed by research showing that too much screen time does more harm than good. Other countries are expected to bring in their own regulations on social media in the near future. CNN's Angus Watson is in Sydney following more reaction and a lawsuit challenging this massive cultural change for Australia.
Teenagers Noah and Macy are taking their government to court in a fight to stay on social media.
Taking away how we communicate to the world, this is how we do it. It's the modern day, it's social media.
From Wednesday, Australia will enforce a world-first law banning children under 16 from many of the biggest platforms. Supported by a freedom advocacy group, Macy and Noah's case asserts a right to political communication. The High Court has agreed to hear it next year.
So what will you lose when social media is taken away from you?
Well, we will lose connections, but we will lose our democracy.
Bro, what? When you don't have a good argument for social media, you got to create bullshit. We could lose our connectivity, then go outside and stop staying inside and scrolling on social media all day. Go outside, go to the park, go to the skate park, go to the rec center, do what we used to do back in my day and how we met other people. Okay, why don't y'all get off the phone and go outside to the rec, to the pool? There's other things you could be doing besides doom scrolling online all day. Okay. So I'm saying, oh, you're taking away our democracy. Woman, you're a teenager. You ain't voting for shit.
Law is saying that democracy begins at 16, which is condescending and it's incorrect.
Listen, there are definitely negatives on social media. I'm not denying that. I completely agree. We're saying that getting rid of the kids is not the solution. We didn't.
Yeah, because you guys are the problem. Like the fact that you guys are going through all these terrible, psychological issues. You guys aren't socially adapting too well. Actually, you are unsociable altogether. And social media seems to be the problem. So if we take that away from you, what are you going to be forced to do? Take your ass outside or just sit your ass on a video game all day. Either one.
Do anything wrong.
The government says it has acted to protect children from potentially harmful content, harmful people, and addictive algorithms.
And there are these powerful, harmful, deceptive design features that even adults are powerless to fight against, like autoplay and endless scroll and snap streaks. So what chance do our children have?
Under the new law, young social media users won't be punished for being on age-restricted apps, nor will their parents. Instead, Australia is requiring tech companies to take reasonable steps to keep under 16s off their platforms and threatening fines in the tens of millions of dollars. Tech companies say they are already building safer systems.
Okay.
AI face detectors will likely be employed to verify age, with tools provided by third-party companies like Verify My. Users may also be asked to upload their identity documents.
Australia is certainly leading the way when it comes to requiring an age check for every user to determine that they are over 16 or not.
The government's ban is a catch-all if you're under the age of 16.
Oh, and let's be real though. Taking these kids off social media, you know how much predators, pedophiles try to get these kids off social media? So yeah, there's also the protection value. Like, I'm be real with you, there's only benefits. I'm be real, there's more benefits taking social media away for kids than like honestly cons. There's more pros than cons. I'm sorry. There's more like benefits than taking social media away from kids than consequences of taking social media away from kids. That's just how it is right now. Actually, probably is the way it's going to be for the rest of the time, because being unsociable was never a human thing.
Off social media. But children are all different. They've engaged with social media differently, and they feel differently about the ban. The students at All Saints Anglican School on Australia's Gold Coast are learning from cyber safety advocate Kira Pendergast about how to best avoid danger on social media.
Because it is a delay. It's not a flat out ban. They're not banning the internet. We're not trying to boil the ocean. It's literally just to delay age. And so they've got time to catch up, to become more resilient and think more critically about that, how they use apps.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure it's like what, 18 and older, 16. I wonder what the age limit is. I'm probably gonna have to look that one up real quick, but it seems like it's looking like I got it at 18 or older, and that's good. I'm okay with that. All right, cool. When you're 18 years old, you got 18 years to fully develop your opinions and to know what not to do on the internet, and go ahead. But let's be real, like the internet, social media has gotten pretty out of hand, and it shouldn't just be left in the hands of a 12-year-old.
In their final year, Nicholas and Ruby wonder if maybe their school career would have been easier without the distraction of social media.
And shout out to my man Gaming says, and there's the punchline. Anytime they do something good, or they do, oh my bad, anytime they do some good, there's usually a reason behind it. I mean, yeah, that's true. That is true. I mean, do you, can we see this as trying to silence the young generation's voice? Or are we just allowing them to grow up a little bit more before they hop out there and start expressing their ideas on the World Wide Web or all over social media?
I was talking before about how if we could, we would delete Snapchat today. But it's more the fact that because there's now so much reliability and connection based off one app, you don't want to delete it.
Perhaps for young Australians, the fear of missing out won't be so bad if everyone is forced to miss out together. Angus Watson, CNN, Sydney, Australia.
And I would say the kids, they kind of walk themselves into this. The new generation don't know how to stay off their phones. Well, hey, man, the adults have answered y'all, and y'all been doing it across the world, not paying attention in school, being on y'all phones most of the time. And you trust me, well, the world has an answer for that, and we're going to try it out in Australia. Let's see how that works out, because y'all should have known something was going to happen. But hey, y'all were only kids. Who'd have knew? Who'd have knew that y'all been playing around the phone so much, distracting from school and all that good stuff, to the point where we have to ban you guys off social media? Because I guarantee you, we ban kids off social media, they're going to stop being on their phones. Because what are they mainly doing on their phones? Scrolling through social media.
All right, breaking news just coming into CNN right now. A federal judge in New York has just granted the U.S. Justice Department's request to unseal records from the investigation and criminal prosecution of Ghislaine Maxwell. Maxwell, of course, was an associate of Jeffrey Epstein. The ruling opens the door for the department to publicly release evidence it had gathered against Maxwell. The trove of documents includes grand jury transcripts, financial records, travel documents, and notes from victim interviews obtained during the investigations. We're just getting Ellie Honig in to give us some legal analysis right now on this Justice Department decision to release a whole bunch of documents involving Ghislaine Maxwell, the woman who was involved with Epstein, as all of us know. What's your sense? When are these documents going to be released, and how significant are they?
Well, so these are the grand jury materials that relate to the Justice Department through the Southern District of New York's prosecution of Ghislaine Maxwell, which happened primarily in 2020. Now, DOJ had gone to this judge, Judge Paul Engelmeyer, before a few months ago and asked for permission to unseal the grand jury materials. At that time, the judge denied the request because grand jury materials are ordinarily supposed to be confidential. And the judge said, I don't see any compelling reason why we need to change that. Now, what has changed, however, is that Congress has passed and the president has signed this Epstein Files Transparency Act, which essentially overrides the normal concerns about grand jury confidentiality. So the judge today has said, well, in light of this law that's been passed, I now order that the grand jury materials should be released. Now, as to what's in them, we have a little bit of a clue, Wolf, because when Judge Engelmeyer denied the initial request a few months ago, he said essentially, there's really not much that's new in these files. Most of what's in the grand jury materials is already known to the public through the indictment of Ghislaine Maxwell, through her extensive trial, through the briefs that the parties submitted, through the evidence at the trial. So I don't think we should expect, based on that, to see anything brand new and shocking. But what we will see is what evidence did prosecutors put in front of the grand jury? What testimony did this FBI agent give around the case? It'll give us some more visibility into how the Maxwell case happened.
And I just want to be precise and correct. This was a federal judge who ordered the release of these documents, not the Justice Department.
It's about time they drop something. Because here's the thing, though. I did not like how they handled Ghislaine Maxwell. They gave her the softball interview, right? And this is how it's supposed to go. They give you the softball interview. They let you tell your bullshit story. And then they come back. They get the facts. And they come back and they grill your dumbass for lying. That's what they was supposed to do to her. Let her sit there, tell a story, like how she told the story of, oh, I didn't do any human trafficking. Oh, there's no way Virginia Dufresne was raped in that house I was in. It was too small. That's literally what this lady was saying. So, yes, they should let her tell her bullshit story. They should have went out, got the facts, and then come back on her and be like, yeah, well, you lied about this, that, and the third. So you want to correct that, or you want to keep up with the lie and let us tell you what we know you did? That's how it should have been. And it's looking like they're going for that now by releasing these court documents. Because now they're going to bring these court documents in front of Maxwell and be like, well, this victim said this about you. This victim said that about you. So, yeah, what's going on with that? Because you told us a complete BS story during our first interview. And hopefully that's what we're getting. Because like I said, they gave her that softball interview and then we haven't heard nothing else.
Ellie, is the Justice Department clearly going to obey what this federal judge has just ordered?
Oh, for sure. Yes. So prosecutors do not have the ability to release grand jury materials on their own. The process is, in the rare instance where a prosecutor, DOJ, is seeking to release grand jury materials, you have to go back to the judge and get special permission. The judge, Engelmeyer, has now ordered that, yes, DOJ, you can and must release those documents. DOJ has to. The law that was passed a few weeks ago requires DOJ to do this. The judge has now signed off. So everything is now in place. Those materials will be released. As to the when, Wolf, the law that was passed gave DOJ.
Oh, and shout out to my man Gaming. He's referencing from the last video about these teens not being able to get onto social media no more. It's not silencing their voice. It's getting a hold of people's identity. Man, Facebook already just rolled out the ability to shift through and read text. Oof, damn, shift through and read text. Oh, damn, you don't even got to read the text no more, or they're going to read it to you. Because trust me, Facebook, they make a lot of advances that I just can't keep up with. That and Snapchat.
30 days to release the Epstein materials. Day 30 is this coming Friday, which will be December 19th. So presumably DOJ, if they follow the law, will make at least the first bulk of those public disclosures a week and change from today. December 19th is sort of the key day to watch.
All right, stand by, Elia. Caitlin Polance has been doing a lot of reporting on all of this. What do we anticipate, Caitlin? How significant will these documents be?
Well, Wolf and Pam, one of the things that Ellie just said is that this judge, Judge Paul Engelmeyer in the Southern District of New York, he has already looked at these documents once. This is the second time around where the Justice Department has come to him and asked for the unsealing of these records. And the first time he looked at them and said, not much is here that isn't out there already publicly, because these are the grand jury records from the federal criminal case against Ghislaine Maxwell, who did ultimately go to trial and was convicted. And so much of what may be in this material are the
types of things that would have come out at Ghislaine Maxwell's trial, things like financial records, travel documents. Those are the things that are specified in the court order today as what may be in these grand jury records. We do know, though, another important point that the judge indicates here in this order this morning, saying, yeah, now that Congress has passed a law, we can unseal these grand jury records, even though you asked once before and the judge said no. In this round, whenever these grand jury records come out, the judge says that there will need to be some redactions made here to protect victim privacy, specifically information about victims and personally identifiable information. So this is the Justice Department taking a step forward, going back to the court now that Congress has passed that act of transparency to release the Epstein files. The Justice Department going to court and getting some of the bulk of the records. But this is by no means what everybody has wanted to see, which is the full FBI file. This is just what's in the hands of the court and what is very likely already largely out there.
All right. Well, we shall see. But this is certainly a significant development. It's unusual for a judge to allow the release of grand jury documents. All right. Caitlin Polance, thank you so much.
All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and drill into this whole little social media. Actually, investigations. Let me make sure here I'm not missing anything. Okay, yeah, we're going to go ahead and get into this little how AI is dumbing down the younger generation. Now, just give me about a quick little 2 minutes real quick. And as you guys wait, I will be playing this fun little clip for you guys.
Meet Ilhan Omar. She fled Somalia's civil.
Just in case you missed it and you didn't hear what our CIA is up to, check this out.
I'm standing here in Oakton, Virginia, in front of what is said to be the house of Paul Campo, which was raided last Thursday by federal agents following an indictment from the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Southern District of New York. Campo is alleged to have participated in a $12 million scheme to assist the Jalisco cartel of Mexico acquire fentanyl production capacity, as well as weaponized drones, explosives. And Campo happens to be the former Drug Enforcement Agency Deputy Director for Finance. So this is a pretty significant bust. But even more significant is the fact that his partner in this alleged scheme, Robert Sensei, is a veteran CIA operative whose involvement in CIA schemes goes all the way back to Reagan's October surprise, who has participated in multi-million-dollar frauds to allegedly, apparently, purchase military-grade helicopters for a certain Middle East country. And so here we are in a white-collar suburb where high crimes are being carried out to assist drug cartels in Mexico. And yet Donald Trump and his administration are killing people in speedboats all the way in Venezuela in a phony drug war, while our chickens are coming home to roost with a CIA asset just last week shooting 2 National Guardsmen, a former CIA asset in a Afghan death squad supporting the United States. So can we really wage a war on drugs when the CIA and DEA at the highest level are directly involved in it? And is it any wonder that the CIA is sometimes referred to as the cocaine import agency? Who's really poisoning our people?
Man, I mean, that's a really good question. But all right, now, guys, let's go ahead and get into it. How AI is making society dumber than ever. Let's shout out to our guy Moon. Make sure you guys follow this channel. I don't know, he's a bit of a doomsdayer, but I love his little documentaries, little mini docus. They're pretty good.
Social media used to look like this. Now it looks like this. Look at that difference. Something fundamental has broken, and people have finally had enough. They're not just taking breaks anymore, they're actually deleting their accounts, closing apps they've used for years and never looking back.
Your phone ruins your brain.
I was so addicted to this kind of false version of my life that it was just taking over. Just scroll.
For background, I deleted everything, Instagram, Twitter, everything. I just became my most authentic self.
Digital detox retreats are now booming. Entire communities have formed around quitting, so what finally pushed them over the edge? Well, social media has transformed into something antisocial, a broadcast network where you're the passive audience. And now with OpenAI's Sora 2...
Yeah, most people are pretty unproductive when it comes to social media. Really unproductive. And what I mean is that, well, you're not really trying to grow a brand off it. You're not really trying to promote any business that you have off it. You're just on there for funsies. And trust me, that is unproductive. I mean, you can be on there for the hell of it, maybe for like an hour or two, but bro, I've heard people doom scroll for 8 hours straight. I mean, whoa. You was able to watch TikTok or Instagram or Facebook for 8 hours straight, a whole job shift, a whole shift. That's crazy.
Generating hyper-realistic videos that are almost indistinguishable from reality, social media slop is only going to accelerate. That's why right now we're seeing the average daily social media usage actually dropping in 2025 to 141 minutes per day, down from 143 minutes in 2024. And while this might not sound like much, this is actually the first decrease in average time spent since 2018. Representing a reversal of a trend that has been climbing for over a decade. As a recent study found that 34% of Gen Z social media users have quit one or more platforms entirely, while 64% have taken at least a temporary break. Meanwhile, 45% of Facebook users in the United States have considered leaving the social network, the highest of any platform. And now something's happening that's accelerating this exodus even faster. I'm sure you've seen how every other clip on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube is now a Sora 2 short. Whether it's Tupac stepping into a wrestling ring with Bob Marley, or cartoon characters driving away from roadside police stops. We are now entering a new era of social media where AI dominates every aspect of both creation, engagement, and consumption. It's not just a trend or
it ruins the authenticity, and people don't even want to watch it no more because they know it's fake. And people usually looking for authenticity, and that's what sells. So AI, it kind of kills it. But it is fun to watch.
Passing fad, it represents a fundamental change that we don't have any control over. For the first time, AI-generated content isn't just appearing on social media, it's dominating it. The videos now look real, they're engaging, and they rack up millions of views. Which is the tipping point people have been warning about. The moment when authentic human connection, the original premise of social media entirely, gets completely drowned out by artificial content optimized purely for engagement. When the platforms you join to stay in touch with friends become indistinguishable from junk mail. Just like emails used to be a way to connect with others, now it just fills up your inbox with a bunch of crap. And the exact same process is happening right now with social media. And we can see this transition so clearly if we jump back into when social media was genuinely social. If the internet today feels flooded with fake content and slop, one of the most valuable things you can do is learn how to tell what's real. That's where Try Hack Me comes in. It's a browser-based cybersecurity platform that teaches you how to think like a hacker, making the internet more useful for creativity and connection. 6 Degrees, considered the first social network launched in 1997, mirror actual cases from the industry. Let me show you one of their and the exact same process is happening right now with social media. And we can see this transition so clearly if we jump back into when social media was genuinely social. If the internet today feels flooded with fake content and slop, one of the most valuable things you can do is learn how to tell what's real. That's where Try Hack Me comes in. It's a browser-based cybersecurity platform that teaches you how to think like a hacker, safely, legally, and hands-on. It's all browser-based, no setup needed. You can just open it and jump straight into real-world labs. You're not just reading about cybersecurity, you're doing it by hacking real machines and solving real scenarios that mirror actual cases from the industry. Let me show you one of their beginner challenges called OSINT. OSINT stands for Open Drop Up a Twitter account, and yep, that avatar answers one of the room's questions. Digging further, the same handle also links to a GitHub account that reveals 2 more answers, his email and the city he lives in. This is getting interesting, but I'm not going to spoil the rest. I challenge you to finish the room, especially if you can uncover the Wi-Fi network. See if you can also use late 1990s and early 2000s. Social media platforms were essentially experiments aimed at making the internet more useful for creativity and connection. 6 Degrees, considered the first social network, launched in 1997. It was the first platform where you could actually create a profile and connect with others digitally. Friendster came in 2002 and developed the concept, focusing on helping people meet through mutual connections. LiveJournal allowed people to blog and build communities around shared interests. Most people born after the 1980s have probably never even heard of these platforms, but they were really minimalist, giving the users the technological tools they needed to communicate about hobbies and interests. Here's what LiveJournal describes itself as: a simple-to-use communication tool that lets you express yourself and connect with friends online. You can use LiveJournal in many different ways, as a private journal, a blog, a social network, and much, much more. Or in other words, pretty much everything social media should be. And then when MySpace arrived in 2003, it changed the game. You could customize your entire page with HTML, including backgrounds, layouts, and embedded music. People spent months designing their pages. Your profile felt like it belonged to you, giving people the...
Honestly, that was actually pretty cool because it actually got kids into coding. Like, I remember like a lot of them, like coding nerds that I know, they said they got into it through MySpace. When MySpace was letting them code their own walls. I know girls that I know learn coding through that because of MySpace, letting them code their own little MySpace walls. So yeah, if we can get social media back to teaching kids or inspiring kids to learn new skills, then I'm all for it. But right now, it don't seem like we're pushing that anymore.
Own corner of the internet without owning a website. And here's an important observation about these early social media platforms: they supported our collective culture. The rock band the Arctic Monkeys got signed because fans created a MySpace page for them and uploaded demos. And whether it be Tyler the Creator or Calvin Harris, just so many of our favorite...
Hey, no, shout out to my man Gaming. He said, y'all remember Top 5 Friends? Boy, shout out to Gaming. Man, you're taking me back.
Artists got their break through MySpace. Entire musical and artistic genres were created on social media, and people would regularly meet up with the friends they made. And we can't forget about MSN Messenger either. People couldn't wait to get home from school to log back on and talk to their friends again through MSN. Early Facebook in 2004 and Instagram in 2010 pretty much followed the same spirit. Your feed showed posts from friends in chronological order with the newest first. Instagram was all about photos with filters, a creative platform where hashtags circulated your work to new audiences. So much so that they barely even monetized the platform, with Instagram barely having any ads and hardly collecting any real data on its users. We could also see the same thing with early YouTube, when people had customizable pages and real authentic videos that made you feel a connection to the creator. But it was around 2009 when social media started changing. Facebook introduced EdgeRank, an algorithm that decided what you'd see based on engagement. Instead of chronological feeds showing your friends as posts, the platform now prioritized content with more likes, comments, and shares. This became far more intelligent with machine learning, which personalized content deeply to each user. And so within a few years, every major platform now followed suit. Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram all adopted engagement-focused algorithms. Facebook went public on the stock market in 2012 and
which was toxic because let's be quite honest. Now, when you were scrolling through like places like Instagram, you start seeing pages that you never followed before, people that you never followed before, but they got a good following, so they're on your page. Instead of just you seeing who you choose to follow, like your family and friends. That was going on a lot on Instagram. Twitter, I mean, they did it a little bit more slick. They did it way more slick because you start seeing like, you know, tweets that just came from accounts you ain't never really heard of, or maybe from like, I don't know, news publications that you ain't never really look into.
In 2013. And so suddenly connecting with friends and other wholesome or positive use cases for social media, such as gaining exposure for your artistic pursuits, now started to take a backseat once investors became involved. When Calvin Harris himself was interviewed in 2010 on how his social media break years later changed his career, his outlook on social media had already become much more pessimistic. Listen to what he has to say in this clip.
I really think the internet's just killing everything. Everything's getting worse. Nobody speaks to each other anymore. Nobody goes for walks, you know.
Man,
there's no romance in the internet. It's a cold place. But you've got to use it. So it's like, I don't know, it's kind of like just being taken down from court to the cells in a pair of handcuffs. Just be like, all right, I'm going to the internet now.
And shout out Steph for IQC. I miss that format still. Use your mind on it. I mean, hey, you ain't lying. Like I said, though, I do miss when literally MySpace was having people code early. But let's hear what this guy got to say again, though.
Had already become much more pessimistic. Listen to what he has to say in this clip.
I really think the internet's just killing everything. Everything's getting worse. Nobody speaks to each other anymore. Nobody goes for walks, you know. There's no romance in the internet. It's a cold place. But you've got to use it. So it's like, I don't know, it's kind of like just being taken down from court to the cells in a pair of handcuffs. Just be like, all right, I'm going to the internet now.
At this point, the race was on to capture as much of everyone's attention as possible. Actual friends got pushed down somewhere you'd probably never scroll to. And yep, we do still have Instagram and Snapchat stories, but let's take a second to think about what they really are. Instagram stories are just there for 24 hours and they're more or less gone forever after that. They're a fleeting moment in a sea of noise. You might just get one brief glimpse of what your friends are doing, if they even are incentivized to post at all. Instagram also released this new feature that shows you what your friends are watching, but it's probably just the same random stuff you're watching and doesn't seem very useful for anyone. Short form video then took over everything, and soon once
literally like short form videos, especially AI videos like this. I linked up with the Somalis that got me right. Welcome to my new life. You know, when I link up with the Somali scammers and they set your boy up in AI universe, everything's all good. But all right, though, yeah, slap like that.
TikTok copied Vine and maximized the short form model, all social media companies would then follow suit, taking over everything once the technology allowed.
LimeWire and LimeWire and a blank CD, bruh. Oh my gosh, LimeWire and a blank, bro. No, LimeWire and a really shitty MP3 player. Damn, get everything you needed.
It to, which became especially toxic because it's built entirely around showing you peak moments, exotic holidays, perfect bodies, designer brands, crazy personalities, and 20-something entrepreneurs supposedly making 9-figure salaries. And so suddenly today, when you go on your For You page, it's probably rammed with algorithmic junk like everyone else's. Whether it's OnlyFans models everywhere trying to win subscriptions, people selling fake courses on how to make millions by sitting at home, or just random AI slop. As for Facebook today, it now just feels like a strange place and nothing like it once was. It's more of a community billboard for boomers or just people who want to complain about something. Most of the time, people just use it to sell random junk. Then TikTok came along and killed whatever was left of the truly social part of social media.
And now people making hella money off Facebook ads.
People think TikTok's core innovation is vertical short-form video, but that's not the only thing. TikTok's real breakthrough was saying forget about following people. They rebuild your feed from scratch based on what the algorithm thinks you'll watch, not who you choose to follow. It's one big black box that listens to everything you say, watches everything you do online, and then spits out content that might just seem random, but is actually extremely well tuned to its target audience. So by 2018, Meta's own internal data revealed something pretty damning that confirms everything we're getting at here. Only 17% of what you see on Facebook comes from friends. On Instagram, it's even worse, just 7%. Everything else is the algorithm's best guess of what will keep your thumb moving. Zuckerberg admitted it's not about friends anymore. He said it's about the entertainment. He said the friend part has gone down quite a bit, just as we see the huge rise in generational loneliness. It's as if social media has become one massive broadcast system, where we sit passively and watch it like a giant billboard flashing before our eyes, and call that entertainment, making social media just the modern day junk mail. But of course, none of this happened by accident. You see, back in 1998, Stanford psychologist B.J. Fogg launched the Persuasive Technology Lab. The goal here was to educate tech students, many of those involved in creating the early internet, and they were being educated on how to manipulate human psychology through technology. And among those students was Mike Krieger and Kevin Systrom, Instagram's founders. They learned the playbook and knew exactly what they were doing when they began to refine and optimize the platform using algorithms, which only truly became possible in the early 2010s. By 2020, internal research then showed Instagram was wrecking people's mental health. An internal report found links to body dysmorphia, eating disorders, and depression. They had the presentations, the data, and everything. But they chose, obviously, not to fix it, because to fix it would have meant less screen time, which meant less money. We all probably know by now that low-value brain-rot social media content is terrible for you. It wastes your time, your life, rewires your dopamine system, and leads to you never being able to focus on anything for long stretches. When social media is just a click away, the brain is always occupied. always being fed something in those quiet moments when we'd otherwise actually be using our brain for.
My bad. All right, hopefully y'all can hear me now. But what I was pretty much saying is that, well, sadly, you do have to use social media with purpose, and entertainment is not purpose. And in my situation, the only social media I use is X and YouTube. The rest of them I just use for posting. I don't go on there. I don't do too much on there. Maybe Rumble every now and then, but it's X and YouTube because that's mainly I use it for research purposes. I can't do research on Snapchat or Instagram. I don't know. Maybe you could do it on Instagram. Definitely not so much on TikTok unless you use like the STEM version, and that's not even real research. That just shows you a whole bunch of little smart little science hacks or math hacks. So when it comes to my personal use of social media, I just curate it for myself and what I need to do with it. Like I say this, I would never use social media for entertainment because you don't get nothing out of it. Maybe if I was selling a product or something, sure, you'd probably catch me on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. But if not, then it ain't really worth it.
What it's there for, to actually think. Harvard professor Arthur Brooks recently discussed this in a thought-provoking podcast. He explains that our brains need idle time to activate the default mode network, the system that processes meaning and big life questions.
Why is boredom so bad? Well, because the default mode network makes us think about things that might be kind of uncomfortable.
With social media, we've nearly eliminated boredom. It's always there to avoid 15 seconds alone with your own ruminating thoughts, and the platform exploits this ruthlessly. As he mentions in this clip,
if every time you're slightly bored, you pull out your phone, it's going to get harder and harder for you to find meaning. And that's the recipe for depression and anxiety and a sense of hollowness.
Brooks describes an experiment where people could sit quietly for 15 minutes or push a button giving them painful electric shocks. Most chose the shocks. That's the psychological vulnerability these platforms weaponize daily. People are now really starting to get sick of all of this, both literally and figuratively.
So you told me people can't sit down for 15 minutes without having something happen, even if it's something excruciating to them. So you say, sit in 15 minutes of silence or shock yourself. Bro literally chose shock himself.
The 2024 Elderman Trust Barometer, a global survey of 32,000 people across 28 countries, found that social media is now the least trusted industry. People are posting less, they're turning off notifications, setting screen time limits, and taking extended breaks from these apps. The BBC recently reported on the rise of digital detox travel, where resorts and retreats offer tech-free stays with no Wi-Fi and no TVs as a selling point. The 2025 Hilton Trends report found that 27% of adults planning vacations intend to cut back on social media during their holidays. Pinterest highlighted this in its 2025 Summer Trend report, noting that searches for digital detox ideas jumped 72%, while digital detox vision boards surged 273%. Interestingly, the digital detox movement seems strongest among Gen Z, the first generation raised entirely with social media and smartphones. A 2024 study reported that 64%.
Because me, I am a millennial. I'm at the end of the millennial. I was born in 1995. That was the last year to be a millennial. So yes, I was somewhat born in between it. I was born in the in-between of it. I seen the days without it, and I seen the days dominated with it.
Gen Z users have taken a break from social media, with 34% having quit at least one platform entirely. Meanwhile, a 2025 survey found that 46% of Gen Zers are taking steps to limit their screen time. So all in all, it really does seem that social media is probably the misnomer of the century. There's nothing authentically social about it. In any sensible society, it would actually be considered antisocial, which now slowly is becoming. But the scariest thing about all of this is that social media hasn't reached some plateau like we might be tempted to think it has. It's still evolving and getting worse, finding new ways to take our life force, energy, time, and attention. We already know that so much of social media today is just theatre. The Lamborghini for that Forex trader is a rental. He's probably drowning in debt or being investigated by the SEC. The body transformation involves steroids. The woman's body is completely plastic. That spontaneous moment took nearly 100 attempts to get right. And that authentic travel video has been refilmed multiple times with strategists and dozens of editors. But it goes even deeper. Scroll through your feed right now and ask yourself how much of what you're really seeing is actually real in any sense whatsoever. Imperva is a cybersecurity company that's been tracking internet traffic since 2013, and their data shows something really crazy. Back in 2013, bots made up about 24% of internet traffic. By 2023, that number hit 49.6%, nearly half. And by 2024, bots became the majority, 51% of all internet traffic. For the first time in a decade, automated traffic surpassed actual humans. And these—
Whoa, that is creepy. No, that is absolutely creepy as hell. To think that all of it, and that's why I never really look, because I remember when somebody was trying to tell me, oh, why don't you buy bots? I mean, because then you're just not authentically growing to crowds. Like, I would like to see the viewers on my lives go up authentically, not just having a whole bunch of bots in there waiting for somebody to interact with a bunch of bots. I mean, that's weird. It's weird that you even want to set people up to do that.
These aren't helpful bots either. 37% of all internet traffic in 2024.
But I'll tell you this, though, most of these Twitch streamers, Kick streamers, and all that good stuff, they are botted up. They definitely have a whole bunch of bots. And they offer me. They offer me to buy bots, which I feel completely disrespected by, because it's like you're saying, oh, well, you can't do it. You can't get the followers on your own. Well, fuck you. Watch me.
Was labeled as malicious bots, scams, misinformation, and manipulation. In Ireland, 71% of internet posts are made by bots. Think about that, that's 7 out of 10 posts. So why the sudden explosion? Well, AI has made it all incredibly easy to create lifelike content and create it at scale no algorithm can ever detect. Which is why researchers are now predicting that by 2030, between 99% and 99.9% of online content will be AI generated. You might have already heard of the dead internet theory. This idea that most of the internet is just fake, just bots talking to bots with a handful of real humans sprinkled in. We've even made videos about this in the past. You can feel it already. Scroll through the comments on any brainrot post and actually try to figure out which ones are even genuine. The platforms all know this is happening, but instead of fixing it, they're now doubling down and investing in it themselves. Meta created 28 fake AI user accounts in 2024 on Facebook and Instagram. These were full profiles with personalities and voices. They were forced to U-turn when people pushed back against this, but the plan was obvious, and they were just testing the waters. They're now building AI influencer bots that can DM fans, respond to comments, and create the illusion of interaction while being completely artificial. User-generated AI influencers are already here. Aitana Lopez is completely AI generated, not real, and never existed. And she was making 10,000 euros a month last year.
Yeah, I was hearing about this story, how this lady is not real whatsoever, completely AI generated, like literally says it, first AI influencer created and got 382K followers, making 10K a month on Instagram.
And never existed, and she was making 10,000 euros a month last year. She posts content including lingerie photos on FanView, which is basically OnlyFans for AI. Lil Miquela, another AI influencer, pulls in $10 to $11 million a year with brand deals, magazine covers, and
bro, how thirsty you gotta be to follow a girl that ain't real? She ain't even real. She can't even talk to you for real. You're just going, what? Oh, yeah, I ain't gonna lie. It's no wonder marriage numbers are down and child numbers are down or reproduction numbers are down. People are falling in love with AI. AI bots. All 2.3 million of those sad bastards. Man, pray for them.
Millions of Instagram followers. And God knows how many of those followers are AI themselves. But one of the most shocking realizations these platforms have seen is that AI influencers actually get 3 times higher engagement than real human influencers. Real humans average 1.9% engagement. AI gets 5.9%. They're more effective at capturing attention because they're algorithmically perfect from the ground up. No bad angles, no off days, no scandals unless they're programmed to have them. Just pure, optimized, engaging brainrot content. Some brands
are the perfect influencer to like with no brand risk whatsoever.
Started replacing humans entirely because of this. Mango launched a whole teen sportswear collection with 0 human models, all AI generated. Because why pay actual people when you can just generate infinite perfect images for basically free? Levi's did a similar campaign, and that's why AI companions represent another dimension to this bizarre new internet where humans and bots—
AI, bro, is about to take all the modeling jobs. I mean, how can you compete with AI as a model, as a female, really? Like, come on now. It's like, bro, it's like same thing with guys. It's like, bro, how can we compete with AI Chad or AI Tyrone? It's impossible.
Blend into one twisted construct.
You know, well, picture-wise, visual-wise, physical-wise, yes. But, you know, visually, no.
Character.ai has about 20 million monthly users spending an average of 93 minutes per day chatting with AI characters. Some people spend over 2 hours daily having conversations with bots. This is supposed to address loneliness, right? Give isolated people someone to talk to like ChatGPT. Except studies are now showing it's doing the complete opposite. MIT recently found that those having the most emotionally expressive conversations with chatbots also reported the highest levels of loneliness, which isn't much of a surprise as we're more isolated than ever, and the solution being offered is
No, you're talking to a robot on a screen instead of an actual person that could, I don't know, like you touch you on the shoulder and be like, it's gonna be okay, and you actually feel that instead of just reading it on a screen. I mean, man, just saying it out loud sounds just so sad.
talking to a bot programmed to simulate caring about you by some giant faceless mega corporation. And now we're literally entering the next phase. AI-generated video, which OpenAI promises will finally go mainstream with Sora 2. And it's only a matter of time before incredibly realistic but also very flexible AI video invades social media. Even Elon Musk is saying that by probably know
the video,
that you're not actively looking for.
The video I showed you guys earlier with, making the whole Somali joke, that was Sora 2.
Sora 2 has been a different story. As you probably know, it's an AI model that generates hyper-realistic video content.
Like this. I linked up with the Somalis that got me right. Welcome to my new life. Man, like, looks real, does it not?
Look at that. If you're not actively looking for flaws, and let's be honest, who does that while scrolling, some may not even realize AI created those clips. In fact, more and more, you're going to start realizing that videos you're watching are actually AI and not human. In the past, this used to be very obvious, but nowadays the line is being blurred. And while Sora 2 does have its flaws, which we'll get into in a moment, the current product is a massive upgrade from other models. It actually obeys the laws of physics to a certain degree. This is because it now understands concepts like weight, balance, and cause and effect. Water ripples and slashes when it's moved. Limbs don't just suddenly appear or move to another part of the body on a whim, like they did with the old video models. And what's even better about this iteration of the model is how it's improved consistency across multiple scenes. Earlier versions of Sora struggled to maintain characters, lighting, and clothing colors across different scenes. Now it keeps up the consistency when switching between cameras. It's not perfect, as the characters and camera may jump to weird spots through different scenes, but it is a vast improvement. All these elements shine best in animated scenes. Just look at this clip. If you're not scanning the video frame by frame, you're not going to notice this is AI. However, one of the most remarkable things about this model is
especially when it's animation. I mean, let's be real, it's harder to spot animation AI than, actual human being AI.
Can render failures. Older models only ever showed success.
Okay, that's crazy.
Every jump landed and every goal scored, even if the laws of physics had to be broken slightly. Sora 2, in contrast, has multiple examples of human props failing. What's even crazier is that it's not just generating visual footage. If you wanted audio in previous models, you'd have to find it or record it yourself and spend hours stitching it in and matching it to your clips. There's no need for that with Sora 2. The model creates dialogue, background ambience, and sound effects to match the generated visuals. Sora 2 also allows you to add your likeness to the app using the cameo feature. Just a quick one-time video of yourself with audio.
Ironically, yes, I did all of this when I made that video for Sora 2. And yeah, you just pretty much mention yourself. You can also mention other celebrities of people who put themselves on Sora 2, and you can pretty much make little lifelike AI videos with them.
Video, of course, and it will generate an avatar that looks and sounds just like you. From there, you can add your digital persona anywhere you want, create your own content from scratch, you can insert your avatar into other users' videos, or let your friends add you to their videos. But as cool as this technology is, it sparks some major concerns. The idea of placing yourself in crazy places with one prompt is awesome, but what happens if a stranger gets hold of your avatar, especially one with bad intentions? Deepfakes are already a massive issue, but Sora 2 takes things up to a disturbing new level. In fact, within days of launch, Taylor Lorenz reported that a stalker was already using Sora 2 to create AI videos of her. And as the app's guardrails aren't that reliable, some users have shown they can generate suggestive videos of people, and OpenAI's own system card admitted that Sora 2 failed to block prompts for generating videos with nudity or sexual content, using a real person's likeness 1.6% of the time. But this is only the start. The Washington Post's Drew Harwell had no trouble creating rage bait or videos of fake crimes. The fact that the app accepted his prompts for women splattered with white goo showed that you could potentially incriminate people with AI-generated footage, or people could use it to incriminate you. Sure, you might cry out that it's AI-generated, but it can sow the seeds of doubt anyway, as studies have already shown that even when we know something is fake, the content can still change our opinion. And there's this concept called the liar's dividend, where people can palm off real footage as AI generated to avoid being held accountable for something. Now, obviously misinformation isn't a new thing, but video kicks the realism and intensity up a gear, and it's only a matter of time before the models become more accurate and the videos longer and more detailed and in-depth. Plus, at least OpenAI is a big company with a big profile and can be put under the spotlight.
And dang. All right, we went ahead and ran out of time. Shout out to our man Gaming says, B System, keep your eyes open and faith strong. And all right, guys, now for all the support on this stream, I'm gonna go ahead and open up the call-in. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and open up the call-in for tomorrow, not tomorrow's show. Wait, would it be tomorrow? Yeah, next show. So next show, the call-in line will be open right at the beginning of the show because you guys supported on this one, and sadly, I've ran out of time. So I got you. Don't worry. But hey, I appreciate you guys for tuning in, and shout out to you guys. But I do gotta head out. I know. It is what it is. But all right, guys, I'm gonna catch you on the next one, man. Please enjoy these fun little clips that I like to play at the end. Appreciate the support, guys. Peace. You know what? Let's get a little deep.
The man of knowledge must be able not only to love his enemies, but also to hate his friends. It sounds almost blasphemous in a world where we're taught that friendship is sacred and hatred is poison. And yet there's a profound truth hiding in these words that most of us are too uncomfortable to acknowledge. To love your enemies requires seeing beyond the surface, recognizing the humanity in those who oppose you, finding understanding where instinct demands rejection. But to hate your friends, that's the more difficult task. It means being willing to stand in opposition to those you care for when they are wrong. It means refusing to let affection blind you to falsehood. The person who seeks knowledge cannot afford the luxury of unconditional agreement. They must be willing to challenge even those ideas that come from beloved sources. They must recognize when loyalty becomes complicity, when friendship becomes an echo chamber. The pursuit of knowledge demands that we see the world and the people in it as they truly are. And sometimes that means loving what hurts us and questioning what comforts us. It's not easy, but then again, truth never is.
Fyodor Dostoevsky, the master of human contradiction, once said, "Nothing is easier than to denounce the evildoer. Nothing is more difficult than to understand him." He didn't write to glorify pain or justify cruelty. He wrote to remind us that every monster was once a child who wanted to be loved. That behind every sin there is a reason we no longer try to see. He believed the soul is not divided between good and evil, but torn between what it hides and what it dares to confess. We judge easily because understanding requires us to look inside ourselves, to see the same chaos, the same fear, the same fragile longing for meaning. Dostoevsky understood that morality is not purity. It's the courage to confront our own darkness without pretending we're untouched by it. And maybe that's why his words still echo today, because we are all, in some way, trying to forgive the parts of ourselves we once condemned in others.